pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. This is a portion of the meeting that if you're not on the agenda and you have something you want to bring up, we'll entertain it. We can't act on it, but we can act on it at a future date. So is anybody on the, or not on the agenda that's got something they want to talk about? Good. All right. Michelle, I was looking around for you, didn't see you.
Okay, so Jeremy and I have combined efforts to apply for a grant. This is both of our grant requests for both of us.
She's got it there. The same grant.
And so only one government entity cannot
apply through the program.
Yeah.
If I apply through the program, I can apply for a second grant for EMA. If she applies, then I get booted out of that. Can't do that.
So we're gonna work together.
Tag team it, and
Sounds good. And this is a,
it's a
no match?
no match,
Nope.
straight cash. It's reimbursement.
It's the Department of Homeland Security. I'm
So-
applying for election security.
So
Is that a gun or what it was?
No. Nope. No, for me, I will be applying for updating equipment. We have some pole pads that are no longer able to update to a certain, they're only able to update to a certain
age once
yes,
yeah,
once
the
the
iPads
age,
are too old to
they won't
take an
update, they won't keep updating. So we need to purchase new iPads so that they can keep the current app on there and stuff along those. So it's updating, for me, it's updating equipment. I have reached out potentially to law enforcement, actually maybe having some actual law enforcement at the polling locations under the sheriff title. So election boards can have like a sheriff. We took that out of the budget. We had it during COVID, but then we took it back out of the budget. So having maybe protection there for crowd control, things along those lines. And then I'm reaching out, I've got an appointment with Secretary of State to see if there's anything else the state and secretary thinks that we could include for this grant. It's due the 30th, so we have time to work on that.
So the grant's through the state.
It's a federal grant, however, we're a secondary applicant.
Yes.
We apply to the state compiles all of our applications and sends them to the federal government, and the federal government says, okay, here's your money, divvy it up how you want.
So yours is security for elections.
Yes.
What's
Yeah.
yours?
Well, I have a separate one in here for my EMA grant. We're just gonna take a look, it's enduring needs. You can apply for up to $150,000 worth of equipment. So we're gonna just take a look, see, we need cots, we need cones, we need all sorts of different things for the EMA to be able to set up shelters. We've got signage, we could use some more. There's just all those sorts of those things. We have a joint meeting with Andrew after the election to sit down and kind of go over the stuff she would like to see, some of the things that I would like to see that could even be put forth on her grant, maybe some mobile cameras for crowds. You know, we could use them multi-purpose, not just for the elections, but at the fairgrounds, or you know, just to make sure that there's not a fight breaking out where somewhere the deputies that are patrolling don't see something like that. Up here at the courthouse, and we have Mater Fest, Mayberry Days, Mater Fest, all those. We can just have a little bit better security, have it set up in an EOC, and just in case something does happen, we've got that capability. So.
Okay.
And with this grant, I mean, where he's wanting to do it, it's also for specific crowd control, public places. I mean, your polling locations
We might even, depending
prime
on which
place
way
for
we
that.
go, we might even be able to throw in some new courthouse security cameras and things like that, so.
Yeah, I think when we had the big Christmas decoration caper, I mean, we saw the guy pick it up and take it away, but we couldn't distinguish who it was, so.
I did not hear about that.
Yeah.
Well, that was a couple of years ago. Yeah, he only took half of it.
decoration.
Okay.
So that's it on our combined. You've got
All right.
our
So you
grant
have,
application, and I currently, next on the list with, a couple other grants, here's the Enduring Needs Homeland Security Grant.
so is this separate from this?
That is
Well-
separate, it's the same program, but it's.
Is it the back page?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the back page. of
no,
mine.
that's, what would you say,
She's
ours
got
is the
pages,
same, and then, yeah, it's the same as the one there, her back page is that one.
Yeah.
And then that one's my second grant that I can apply for.
Okay, so you've got two, and,
Yes,
It's
this-
basically the same
and
one.
together you're doing
Yeah.
one.
Yeah,
Yes.
that one, yeah,
Alright, and they're
So-
both no match.
no match, reimbursable
Up
up
to
to
100
$150,000
per,
grant, so we
Grant.
can get up to $300,000 worth of equipment and stuff. In
Thank
this
you for
program,
finding them and going to it.
Ain't no problem.
Good job.
So I'll entertain a motion to, if you guys don't have any comments or input, I'll entertain a motion to allow both grants to be, requested.
I'll make a motion. Proceed with your grant request.
Randy makes a motion for both grants, Greg,
I'll second.
Greg seconds that, I'll make that unanimous.
And I'll put you on the county council meeting.
I was supposed to say, that was the next,
That's right.
for both of us, please.
What else you got?
Well, this is just on mine, we're
I was
finished, do
like,
you have
this
anything
is,
else?
nope, this is it for me.
Okay, so,
You don't have anything else?
No, sir.
Sure.
Positive.
Good.
um,
I will ask you something while you're sitting here. How's the early voting going?
It's going good. We have kept it in the hallway. The poll workers like the hallway better than the commissioner's room. They like the windows. Did you sign? Yeah, I'll get you a copy of these.
okay, that's,
It's going good.
yeah, so we can,
Turnout is, not as high as we thought it was gonna be. But it's going good. So,
Yeah.
Yep.
People are still coming and voting.
Still coming to vote, and we do have early voting this Saturday at the courthouse, and also we have the early voting at Austin High School. That is due to the now being a vote center, so on this next Saturday, we have 2 locations you can go vote at. But yeah, so far so good.
Sounds good.
Has that been at least confusing to anybody, or is that everything working good?
As far as I know, everything's working good. We've had a few complaints that Lexington is very sad that they do not have a precinct out there to vote, or a polling place to vote out there. But Lexington is the only one that has voiced an opinion. But what is nice about the vote center plan is that any time after an election, if we need to adapt it or we need to amend it, we can. So
Yeah, that's what I told some people.
that's what's nice about. So after this election, if we find out that, Lexington needs one out there, or we need to reassess and maybe it's Johnson, or if it's Finley, or wherever, we can adapt that plan and change that, so. But nobody has voiced from Finley or Johnson or Vienna Elementary. It's literally as right now, I think it's 6. And once we explain the situation of not being able to find enough poll workers, the savings of the money that it's gonna help with the county, they're like, oh, okay. We also tell them that there was absentee ballots that they could do, mail, or the traveling board. We explained early voting through the courthouse. They said, okay, that makes sense to us, so.
So with that, on either election day or whatever, at Johnson and Lexington and Vienna, are you going to have some signage
Yes,
telling
signage goes
people
up.
that,
Yes, signage goes up either Saturday or Monday. We're gonna try to get them out Saturday, with the mechanics. But yeah, we have signs for
Okay.
Finley, Johnson, Vienna Elementary, and Lexington Elementary. Signs go up. The schools are gonna put it on the marquee.
I have big flashing signs too, if you want to borrow any of them. They're on solar panel on a trailer, 2 of them, and the other 2 will last for 2 days.
What do they flash?
Any
Whatever I
message
program
you want.
on, 2.
I'm gonna
Jeff
work
Fortner.
with Jeremy and get some signs out there. Or do they have to be like pulled with a trailer, or?
2 of them, I can pull them with my Drago, so. And then Joe can
That'll
pull
be
one with
fine.
his truck, yeah,
Yeah.
they're not,
So, didn't know those existed, but yes, we do have banners that are going to the schools. So, yeah,
Well, I just want people to know if they pull up there, and a lot of times outside out of mind till election day, and they pull up and go, what's going on? You know,
Yeah.
It's not here, and they don't vote.
Yeah, and we've advertised, I will say that we have had a great response to what's called the buck slips. And it is your property taxes. I put a piece of paper in there that told about the vote centers. I've had, actually most people's like, oh, I got your information in the buck slip, so.
Good deal.
But we've done Facebook, the radio, commissioners meeting, council meetings, the buck slips, the schools are doing it on the marquee, the schools did school reach calls and stuff like that, so.
I don't know if Zach might be able to answer this, but I mean, I don't know if Jeremy can use his 911.
The EMA signs, I should,
No, I'm talking about the text message and
Oh.
stuff, to put a message out that,
that is
just a reminder.
paid for by EMA. So, the Nixle,
Yeah,
that's actually out of the EMA as well. So I should be able to send out a warning or a message, remember, about the vote centers.
can you legally put something just saying, hey, check your election polls, or as a polling locations have changed, I don't know.
I do not know the answer to that.
I know I can't use the
We've also had
iPhones.
the text my gov.
I knew that too.
Yeah.
'cause,
Yeah.
Yeah, we've
Yeah,
also
I
did the
can't
text
use
my gov.
emergency, no.
You probably don't need to do that, cause she's got that text
Yeah.
my gov or
That's
whatever.
true, she's
Yeah,
got that.
we have
so-
that text my gov, so.
So, I just wanna make sure
Yeah.
people aren't,
But
you know,
that might be something.
you
I
can
talked to you
flash
about.
it in front of them for
Yeah,
days,
because
and
I
when
can
they
send
show
out
up, they go,
community
And we've
messages.
also, we've had some businesses, put on their
It's Nixle,
marquees
yeah, it's not
around
necessarily
town.
emergency system.
actually.
I can
didn't see
use the
that.
national emergency system through it
I
as my access
I was
point,
like, crap.
but,
Yeah, we've had some, businesses put it on their marquees, so.
yeah.
Trying to figure
Yeah,
out
it's-
where I just saw that, cause I had a double take, I was
And
like,
Jeff,
Yeah,
I know you saw that.
Yeah.
When they used to have
so,
that.
I mean, I feel like
I don't know what they're
we're getting
using
as
now.
much
It's
support
Everbridge
for
is
it,
the-
but yeah, so,
okay,
that's all on my end.
alright,
Any other questions?
appreciate it,
Okay,
thank you.
Thank
it's all
you.
yours, thank
All
you.
right. Now I have two that I'm going to say I'm sorry. I found out about these between the last meeting and the time they expired, which was yesterday. So I had to apply for them. I got one of them. It's through the railroad. I got $5,000 through the railroad. I've already they're waiting to send me a check. I got the email saying the check's being cut. So it'll
So
come to you
these
guys.
aren't matching grants
No,
or?
nope, it's in advance there, it's for the purchase of a drone. I now have the funding to buy one of the two drones that I wanted to buy. And
What's your other one?
the other one is through Cease, they were looking for some extra people to put in some information, to put in some grants, so I put in a grant to be able to, have remote control of those signs that I've got. So say if the county highway's got them out somewhere and the road's open instead of closed and we can't get out there to move the signs, then I can say road now open from sitting at dispatch or wherever from my laptop. Or Joe can change it, or, you know, if there's an emergency, we've got the emergencies, you know, set up for an emergency and we start moving the road, you know, we open one lane of the roadway, we can now say right lane open ahead instead of road closed completely, things like that.
Okay.
So,
Alright.
I don't have the answer for the Cease one yet, but I do have, like I said, they're getting ready to send me the check for the railroad. So,
Alright.
Good deal.
That's pretty monumental, getting run out of route.
yeah.
Alright, I'm gonna group these together as well, so we got two requests for additional grants, one for $3,700 to Cease and one for $5,000 to the railroad. Is that Indiana Louisville or
Railroad, yeah.
in the amount of 5,000, which we've already been approved for, so I'll entertain a motion for both of these.
Approved.
Randy makes a motion, Greg?
I'll second.
Greg seconds, and I'll make that unanimous, so. What else you got?
Yeah, that is it. I will say I'm really thankful to Jeff for getting those signs in the grant he got them from. I'm trying to get out there and use them as much as I can. We used them for the Cease, drug take back up at Austin Fire Department last weekend. They were really impressed with it. And I told them, I said, if they need them, you can use them.
Yeah, they're pretty nice.
So we used them on the Eclipse. And I told Joe, Joe, the chief at Austin, that if they need them for the Fireman's Festival, to give me a call. I've let the city know that we've got them, so, you know, if they need them for something. then just, it's a phone call away, we can get them set up and get them out there. So they're turning out to be pretty useful, and hopefully we'll get some good use out of them.
Okay,
Do it, the cash data, yep, I've got that coming for you.
all right, thank you. Highway Department, I don't know what you did to get up here on the first.
Did they? How far did you get today?
Oh, we'll be done, they're still there,
Yeah.
probably about to wrap it up. I don't have a whole lot, I just got a few things, key dates here coming up. Our CCNG bids are due, on the 5/14 meeting. So we'll open them up then, I'll ask you to table them until the next meeting before we approve them. Our letters of interest for our bridge inspection, our next round of bridge inspection is due on 5/3. So we'll be looking at that, and we'll have to, I guess myself and maybe 2 commissioners will score, some consultants have not been through that yet, but we'll have to do some scoring on that and pick a consultant for that round of bridge inspections. On 5/30, letter of interest is due for Bridge 28, same way we're there, we'll have to discuss what consultants you wanna use on Bridge 28
I have a copy.
for, I guess for the phase 1, of how I should say it, the engineering phase.
It's 28, the, Leota.
Leota Road.
Leota.
Yeah. That'll be some dates we're looking at there. So after tomorrow, we'll be on Jeffrey Street, and then we'll be back to our, CCMG road, which is Leota, East Radio Tire, Robbins, Crowsville, North Bogartis, Coffee Pot, Marshfield, Jack Morgan. There'll be a lot of closures on those roads over the next month. I think we have around 20, maybe 22, 23 culverts still left to replace on those roads. All of them, probably the largest being 6 foot down to 12 inch. There'll be a lot of work on those roads.
well, I like that you're posting that.
Yeah, we'll try to get out ahead of time on them the best we
I was gonna
can.
say, some of them probably, if you can get them out.
Sometimes we're a moving target, but we'll put it out there and kind of
I think,
see what the weather and stuff allows us to do.
I think it's been pretty receptive.
So besides that, I don't have a whole lot. That's just what we got coming up.
I'm waiting for Zach to come back in here, cause
Oh, for the, yeah.
we gotta, I wanna talk about that interlocal with Jefferson County.
Okay. He sent me a draft on that.
Well, we're going to,
Oh, yes.
you wanna talk about that interlocal with Jefferson County?
Yes, does everybody have a copy of that?
I think so. Do you guys have that? Well, I'll get them for you real quick.
So, I got the meeting minutes. No, I don't.
Let me get that then.
Anyway, for the public here to understand what we're talking about is, the Board of Commissioners passed last year, to purchase chip seal equipment at a number, I think it keeps going up because we bid it twice now, I think. I'm gonna say between $700,000 and $775,000. 3 pieces of equipment to be able to chip seal, county roads. And it's twofold. One is a preservation, project to extend, our roads that we do have so that they don't deteriorate to the point that we can't we can't chip seal, and we can't do anything to them. And the state is pushing all counties to get on the same board that they are as far as, paving roads and chip sealing them, getting the, 4 or 5 more years out of them. And then going back to paving them again because, you can't chip, am I correct that you can't chip seal twice?
You can.
Yeah, there's highways out there with 3 or 4 times, but I think that you get less and less performance the number of times you do it,
So,
it depends on the road, depends on how it's opened up.
anyway, it gets us further down the road of spending, and I don't know that number anymore, cause it used to, back when I first became a commissioner, $45,000 a mile to pave a road, and it was like 15,000 miles to chip seal a road. That number definitely has went up over the years, and I think it's, if I'm not mistaken, you said one time that it's like $90,000 to pave a mile of road now, and chip seal probably in the 30,000s. But anyway, there's a cost saving to the community. There's also a preservation to keep the road in good shape, so that we're not upside down, having to completely completely redo the whole road. So anyway, that was a long-winded explanation, but the thing we came with was we took that to the commission, or to the council, for the 750, I'm gonna say half of that, for 3 pieces of equipment, and they turned, the highway department down. So what we try to do as commissioners is try to figure a way to be more elusive in our, how we can get the same thing for less. So, talking with Jefferson County Commissioners, and this meeting, one of the meetings happened last fall, and then we kind of readdressed it again. And, they have one of the pieces of equipment already that's fairly new, and then we have 2 pieces of equipment we need to purchase. So what we're planning on doing is going into an interlocal agreement with Jefferson County, Indiana, to buy those other 2 pieces of equipment in joint, you know, so that we buy one, they buy one. They utilize the equipment so many months out of the year, we utilize the equipment out of the rest of or the other part of the year. Chip seal equipment's like the paving equipment we have now. It, use it, you know, for several months, and then you put it in a barn and wait for warm weather again. So, Jefferson County again is more than happy to enter into this agreement with us, because they're getting, good equipment, we're getting good equipment, and, we're gonna be able to utilize it. So where we were talking about $730,000 to $775,000, we're talking about $350,000 to $400,000, and still having the same use of the equipment. Again, Jefferson County chip seals 40 miles of road every year, and right now the only chip sealing we're doing is off community crossing grant. So anyway, that's what we're going to do here is we're going to try to enter into an agreement with Jefferson County, Indiana, with the commissioners to share equipment, chip seal equipment only at this point, but to try to get the same bang for our buck with $300,000 or $400,000 compared to $700,000 to $800,000. So, Randy, you got comments? Greg, you got comments?
No, I think you did a pretty good job of explaining it. I mean, it's not a question about whether or not it's a good idea, it's where we've gotta be, in this county.
So, I know that Kevin met with, after our last meeting, the highway director for Jefferson County. They, I think, came up with kind of the structures for the use of the equipment, because they know better how they will need to use it and when. They provided some documentation. I talked with them for a little bit. I created this draft. I don't, or have not had an opportunity to speak with Jefferson County's attorney about the specific language used. And one of the requirements for an interlocal agreement is that both political subdivisions pass identical provisions. So I think you could, without knowing exactly whether they agree with everything, and I think one of the things that I had questions about when I talked with Kevin was, and I think it's become a little more clear, Jefferson County has a piece of equipment that already that would be used in this process. they might be purchasing another piece of equipment and we would purchase another one, and then we would essentially agree to, exchange that equipment under this agreement when necessary and under rates that most of the county highway superintendents agree upon for labor and equipment costs. And this one is not exactly like that, as this specifically says that both entities shall just bear the costs exactly the same for the purchase of the equipment. I guess when I initially understood it, it was that we would be going in on a joint undertaking to purchase all of the equipment. But now it seems like we're doing, they'll do one piece, we'll do one piece. So you might need to make some amendments to it in the future, but I think this at least gets the ball rolling in terms of putting something forward in front of the county fiscal body, who would also have to approve this. And I have a resolution in front of Kevin for the appropriation of certain monies. I didn't know exactly how much we would be potentially using, but the idea would be we'd be using it through ARPA funds. So we would need to specify an amount not to exceed in the resolution. You could approve the interlocal agreement. And it specifies, maintenance costs, insurance costs, labor costs, equipment costs, and all those are to be borne equally by both parties. The scheduling of the equipment will be worked out by the county highway superintendents between May 1st, October 30th of each year that the agreement would be in effect. It would need to be renewed on a yearly basis, or modified, or or extended. Both of the highway department directors agreed on FEMA rates for labor and equipment, and that's pretty much the substantive terms of the interlocal. So I guess what you could do is approve it, conditionally at this point, with the idea that the county fiscal body still has to weigh in, ensure that it's language that the Jefferson County commissioners and their county fiscal bodies would accept. But you could go ahead and do the resolution as well to start the process for requesting the appropriation for the county. And then the purchasing. So I'm not sure, I expect that the piece of equipment we're buying is gonna be in excess of $150,000. Is it a government related contract?
The two times we bid it out before, the company that bid it had oh shoot, there's a name for it, it's a QPA, but that's not the word for
Qualified,
they're a vendor.
I would still suggest going ahead and do a closed bid process, because there's a separate provision in interlocal that says, that was one of my questions, was who is supposed to comply with public purchasing laws, and basically the statute says that either party complies. It means the other party also complied, but since we're each gonna be purchasing independently, I would go ahead and start that process as well, and just put the request for bids out for whichever piece of equipment we're thinking of purchasing. And I think you could ask for, it sounds like an appropriation not to exceed $400,000.
I have, we did go through the bid process less than 30 days ago.
Oh, you did?
We did, and we have, where we advertised to, we put it out for sale bid and opened the bids. Off the top of my head, the chipper, chip seal piece equipment, one was $401,000, the other one was around $275,000. Those are still within 30 days. I don't know how long we can go out on this bid. I think they're like 45 days or something. I have to look on that. But, I mean, we can re-advertise again if you decide on, the commissioners decide that that's what they want to do. If they want to say, well, we'll buy a distributor, they want to say, hey, we'll buy a chipper. whichever you wanna do, I could give you, this is the price, the chipper did not go up from the last time I did it, which was 6 months ago. And the distributor did go up a little, like 15,000, from the last time I did it. But, you know, those prices will give you
But both times, you're only getting one bid back.
yeah,
You only have one player in the game.
yeah, and they're a Sourcewell
So it's
qualified, I guess, so.
would it be a single source of supply?
Kinda,
Okay. We can address that part, I mean, it might fall under, the special purchasing methods and public purchasing, but
I had other companies reach out and say, hey, we'll give you a letter, you know, saying we're not interested in bidding it because we can't provide the, you know, we can't provide the equipment or whatever.
So if he's saying that the last bid he got on the distributor,
Distributor was around 275, and the
no, I
chipper,
mean, the chipper then, I
the
guess.
chipper's
was
around
4.
401.
have you taken any action on those bids yet?
No.
We just tabled them.
Then just, I would just discuss it once we figure out with Jefferson County which entity will be purchasing this piece of.
But we get a,
We're gonna
worst
be,
case scenario, we run out of time with those. That gives you a budget, a good budget number. I believe we'll get the same, if we need to re-advertise, I think we'll get the same numbers back. And
well, where I was getting at was, you were saying not to exceed $400,000, but we already have a bid of
Little bit higher,
401.
yeah,
So we need to say 405 not to exceed, or 410 not to exceed,
I would
so,
say 410.
so.
And I'm not 100% sure how the Sourcewell works. I just know where that company's qualified for the government pricing, Sourcewell, that they can price a whole lot better than some
Yeah, there's,
guys, so that a lot of guys won't bid it because they can't beat that price.
Okay.
usually those companies contract with the state to offer equipment and services at a specified rate, which is usually lower than.
And obviously, I mean, this is part of it, but there could be, it just depends on whether we get it through on lead time with equipment. So, you know, just if it was done now, it could, the distributor, it all depends on who walks in and buys it. It could go, they could have one this summer, or if somebody steps in and buys it, it'll be a year.
And that just let me know, like, obviously, we're already into, I think, what would be the normal season.
Oh, yeah.
So
For
the
sure.
reason,
Yeah.
so the agreement basically specifies that for this term, the first term, it's in effect till 2025.
that's a good point.
I'm not even gonna ask. You have comments?
No.
Start to.
I think really, I mean, the goal, I think for not only us, for Scott County and the goal for Jefferson County is just try to come up with agreement that is flexible enough, that can be modified, because we know that revisions are gonna have to be made along the way. But it's a good start to get us off the ground and get us to where we need to be. So I think this is a good direction for us to get moving on. And I've said it before, I mean, you know, Kevin and Bobby know, what they, and I thank you for talking with Bobby and working with those guys
Oh,
to
yeah.
try to put some of these, things that we need to outline in the agreement. So, you know, it's just a matter of us making it happen.
And I'll send you guys this, and I'll cover it just since we're talking about chip seal equipment. And not that I need to convince you all, but this is just good numbers for what we're doing right now. The north end of Bogartis Road, that we paved today, or finishing up paving now. Just a couple years back, we was able to go do some grade work for that and get a better base under and make it a much better road, which has made it a lot busier road. So, you know, I just done some numbers for Randy on it, so kind of proved that he didn't go at it just blindly. If we cover that road with 1 inch of rock 4 times a year, annually, which we cover it more than that, given the condition that it is, $24,820, and that's from our bid price of $15.75 a ton for number 8. It costs us $66,690 for the HMA we put down today, and that 0.8 of a mile that was rock. It would cost us $25,000 to chip that road, if we was to do so in 7 years or whenever the road started to deteriorate and was needed. So I just done a 20-year analysis on that. If we done it 4 times a year, 1 inch of rock, it would cost us $496,400 to maintain that road.
And it'd be rock.
If we, it would be a rock. If we got to do with the HMA that we did now, and we done it through a preservation product, it would cost us $177,408 to maintain that road, which would save the county $318,992 on 8/10 of a mile of road. So I just kinda wanna lay out there, he didn't go out blindly, this is what we cover. Anyway,
Interesting.
you know, that covers majority of the equipment we just talked about,
Yeah.
8/10 of a mile.
It's a no-brainer. And, you know, thanks Kevin for, you guys has really been doing a heck of a lot of work. I mean, every week and taking on a lot and getting a lot done. I know, even in my district, Moonglow Road, great job. We've got a wider turning radius if anybody's been up that way. And that's the berries now, you know,
Yeah.
from Boatman to.
All the lawnmower trailers, right?
And, yeah, so it's, and I know, you know, you guys were on, you know, Plymouth the week before that, and, you know, Bogarts and Randy's area, so you guys are getting it every day, and we appreciate that, and you guys are really getting it.
We'll have one more road tomorrow, Jeffries, and then everything else from there for the year will be just patch paving for our chip seal roads. And we'll be out of money. So we'll be
So,
done.
one other thing to let
Yeah.
you know, I know we've had people reach out to me, on, Little York Road and Finley Firehouse, and we've got an intersection, and it's an issue there. So Kevin and I actually looked at that the other day, and so really the goal right now is, just, you know, compile some crash data. We're just, you know, taking data in. You know, we have, some, design guidelines that we'll look at to help us make determinations, and so we're, it's not falling on deaf ears. We're actually, you know, looking and trying to make, the right adjustments, but, again, we're just, you know, taking information and I've compiled a few things already, and then we'll compare that against some of the other.
I'll scan tomorrow for you guys, cause this is always a topic on stop signs and four ways. It's actually, I was looking at the MUTCD manual, and it was actually 6,000 cars a day average through, to make it a four-way off the main line, which is a lot, like 300 cars per every 3 hours.
Yeah.
So, per hour, sorry, 300 cars per hour. So that's it takes a major intersection to ever justify it through that manual anyway.
Right, and you know, like I say, we have some guidelines to help us with, and, I'm fortunate enough to work around, some good smart guys and gals, and can run some of those scenarios past them, so. Just want everybody to know, we're looking at that right now.
I'm gonna go on to my asphalt guys are calling me.
All right, we're gonna,
Thanks, Kevin.
I'll entertain a motion to, I'll entertain a motion to vote on this interlocal agreement with Jefferson County and Scott County regarding the funds for purchase of county highway equipment and maintenance, not to exceed $410,000.
I'll make that motion.
Randy makes the motion to enter into an interlocal agreement with Jefferson County, Indiana. Greg?
I'll second.
Greg seconds that, and I'll make that unanimous.
The interlocal has signature lines for everyone,
I saw that.
and the resolution does as well. And they're
We
two
know-
separate pieces of the same.
Well, so there's two different votes.
Yeah, one's just to approve the plan and request council to, approve an appropriation in that amount, and the other one is actually an agreement with Jefferson County on how those funds will be used.
What's the resolution number, Jennifer?
Okay, 7.
7?
If you wanna read that, I'll go ahead and take a nap.
Here, I want you to, there's two places for us to sign on here, on this interlocal. Is that
No, one of them
wait
is,
for-
sorry.
wait for the
You
county?
just signed on Jefferson County's signature line.
I see that now. Alright,
Here,
that's all right, we'll put another page in it for them.
Well, we can use.
Yeah, we can just print another page for that.
Yeah.
Guess I didn't pay attention to that. All right, I'm gonna read this. Resolution number 7, a resolution of the Board of Commissioners of Scott County, Indiana, approving plan for appropriation of funds and purchase certain equipment for the county highway department. Whereas the Board of Commissioners of Scott County, Indiana Board has been tasked by the County Council of Scott County, Indiana Council with the implementing programs and funds of the American Rescue Plan Act pursuant to the guidelines and rules of the United States Treasury. Whereas the board is the executive and legislative body of Scott County, Indiana. Whereas ARPA section 603-6-1 provides funds may be used for the following purposes: to respond to the public health emergency or negative economic impacts, including assistance to households, small business, and nonprofits, or to aid and impact industries such as tourism, travel, and hospitality. B, to respond to workers perform essential work during COVID-19 public health emergency by providing premium pay to eligible workers. C, for the provision of government services to extend to the reduction of revenue due to the COVID-19 public health emergency related to revenue collected in the most recent full fiscal year. And D, to make necessary investments in water, sewer, and broadband infrastructure. Whereas the board has determined to provide specific amounts from ARPA funds to fund the purchase of certain chip and seal equipment as specified by the purpose of interlocal agreement between Jefferson County and Scott County as necessary to provide government services under the final rule. Whereas the provision of government services by Scott County Highway Department is necessary services to maintain county roads and permissible use of ARPA funds pursuant to the rules and guidance of the U.S. Treasury. Whereas the project constitutes government services within the meaning of the guidelines of the United States Treasury, including but not limited to the final rule published by the United States Treasury and made effective as of April 1st of 2022, the final rule, which broadly defines government services. Whereas the board has agreed to allocate, and I'm going to say not to exceed $410,000 in ARPA funds for the project, which is the total amount allocated for the purchase of chip seal equipment by the Scott County Highway Department as defined. It says now therefore it be resolved by the Board of Commissioners of Scott County, Indiana, that the board hereby finds that and determines that the project constitutes the provision of the government services that is complemented and permitted under the final rule. 2, the board hereby approves the appropriation and distribution of $410,000 in ARPA funds to fund certain chip and seal equipment for the maintenance on county highways and for the purpose specified in the interlocal agreement between Jefferson County, Indiana and Scott County, Indiana. The president of the board and the auditor of the Scott County are hereby authorized and direct to finalize and execute any documents and any action as necessary and appropriate for the furtherance of this resolution. This resolution is effective immediately upon the passing recording. So, I'm going to ask for a motion to pass resolution number 9, authorizing a resolution to spend not to exceed $410,000 for chip seal equipment through an interlocal with Jefferson County.
I'll make that motion.
Randy makes that motion, Greg.
I'll second.
Greg seconds that. I'll make that unanimous, so.
I don't want to turn this into a popularity contest or nothing, but I want you to realize that I do have more people sitting on my side of the chapel than you guys do.
I
didn't know you sat on this end, Randy.
That might be that you got more people's gonna ask you questions. All right, with that, Nick. Might add that down there. Okay, your space there, not good in there.
You want one?
I know where we can get some money.
You can mind your own business. Financials are at the top. April, as in the last decade, has been a slow month compared to the others. Brought in 165.
So you're saying last week was a slow week?
Not run volume wise, financial. This last 2 weeks has been extremely insane.
Yep.
We did receive our Medicare disbursement, for the year. That was not included in that 165. That came to the 34,655. That's the contract that we sign every year for like a $4,000 fee. They recouped.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
They recouped about $35,000 for us. That came through in, through ABS, so.
So what you're saying is, so I explain to people this Medicare reimbursement, we enter into a contract with a company that goes after some Medicare reimbursements at a cost to us of about $4,000, $5,000 a year. In turn, we get back $35,000, so.
Yep, so Medicare and Medicaid negotiate all their rates regardless of vendor. And then, based off of our population, run volume, assets, 19 pages worth of stuff, they evaluate if we were underpaid or overpaid. I don't think in the history of Everton, Medicare has ever overpaid anybody. But then they go through, and I think we were underpaid by like 78,000 something dollars, and then they give us a percentage of that, which comes to that 34,655. So we paid the contract that we use with the company is $4,000 cost every year, and they recovered the 34,655.
So it's always a win-win for us.
Historically, yes. Paramedics at the 11, or excuse me, training's at 11, paramedic is at 36, so that means year-to-date, as of yesterday, we brought in $761,000 for the year. Current cash ledger, this is when I ran my report at like noon, was at 787, but apparently I'm at like 785, because something posted at like 4 o'clock, so there's $2,000 less in my account currently. We did 404 runs in April, and 382 transfers to date out of hospital. Any questions about any of that? Good. Main reason I'm here is everybody's favorite time of year. I would like to buy a truck. That's why I'm here. I would like to do that with my own money. Or with EMS's money. Not my money. I don't have that kind of money.
So what we're talking about is, and we talked about this a little bit in the last meeting, is that a remount, which means taking the box off of an existing truck, putting it on a new chassis, which is, in the chassis has a new motor, new transmission, and whatever. That cost is, if you correct me if I'm wrong, $235,000, $240,000
Give or take.
roughly.
Yep.
To buy new, or at $270,000, $280,000. So, and then you take the chances of having some issues or.
Warranties are different from remounts to new.
You always have
workmanship.
electrical gremlins.
Yep.
But on the flip side of that,
We can sell
We
the
can
truck
sell it, yeah.
that we would normally get rid of for more than the $7,000 to $8,000 we would get in on trade-in. So we would probably either break even or come out ahead, being able to buy new and completely sell an entire unit.
so what you're saying is if a remount's $240,000, say, for
And we
instance,
pay $300 for new and we get 30 or 40,000 for that truck, you know, we're
We're
gonna
on-
be very
we're in-
close to what we were at the remount price.
we're in a new one for $40,000 probably.
Yeah.
Well, and again, and this is, people need to understand, in years past, for anybody really, a lot of people used to go out and just buy a new ambulance, pay cash for it, take it in-house. Same thing with fire departments and fire trucks, but now the fire trucks aren't in that realm of,
We're not very cost
Purchasing.
efficient, yeah.
when you're talking about $500,000 to $700,000 for a new fire truck. A lot of people don't have that cash sitting around that they're gonna to do it, so they end up financing. So
Yeah,
you're saying that you can, right now you have some financing going on with one of the ambulances that we hadn't even got yet.
No,
Or is that
the
the
one
one
we
we
do have is currently financed on
The
loan
one that
through
you're-
West
got
Banco
it.
that we have the payment on at semi-annual.
Yeah.
The one that we're receiving this year was the one that, TIF purchased for us.
Alright,
And, I'm 99% confident the service can fund another loan. I had Deandra in the auditor's office look at it. I would have to have a negative 48% income drop for me not to support that cost, which would be in the sum of close to $1 million in a year. I would have to not bring in net income wise. So
how far out, if we said yes, you ordered it today, is it a year and a half out?
no, so everything I've looked at is demos, just because and I've got some of these on here. These are all demos, and I'll go through, I'd like to go through them individually so we can discuss this, but if we order a custom truck, which is anything that's not a demo, even if I said I want it built spec demo, it's not on their lineup that was ordered 2 or 3 years ago. Earliest delivery we're looking is 2027.
So if you're buying new, it's 27.
Yeah, which these demos are new, but if we buy trucks that aren't, if we spec a truck saying I want this type of glass here, this cabinet here, these are the handrails that I want, if we spec it, then that's how we used to order trucks. When I was at another service, I bought 3 trucks while I was there. We built those trucks to spec. These same exact, well, one of them same exact, but these style trucks, the most I paid for one of those trucks was $172,000. Now we're talking about $300,000 for an ambulance,
So
and
you're
nothing's changed except COVID and
looking at these, one of them's a
Yes.
4x4, and the rest of them are 2-wheel drive.
correct.
So of the ambulances we have right now, are they all 4-wheel drive?
It's split. Van chassis you can't do 4-wheel drive on, and we have 2 of those. For what my opinion's worth, I do like the style of the Type 3s, which are the van chassis with the box. However, you can't get diesel motors in those anymore. So we're dealing with those. The only motor options you have are gas motors, and those are the ones that we replaced 2 of last year. And that's kind of left a sour taste in my mouth. With the mileage, we were at 66,000 on one and 80 or 90,000 on the other. And the only things that I've priced are diesels, and the only place you can get diesels are Type 1s. Like we don't, the Old Faithful that we've got is a van chassis that was a Chevy that had the 6.6 Duramaxes in it. They don't make those anymore. It's diesel in a Type 1 or gas in a Type 3. Or you can do gas in a Type 1, but you can't put diesel in Type 3.
So
Everything here is a diesel motor. Everything here is a Type 1. So they're all the truck chassis boxes.
equal.
Everything, so obviously there's differences because they're different manufacturers. That's why I don't want to say it's impossible to bid ambulances, because if we do a bid spec, what Service A calls one thing, Service B might not call. So it's just kind of been, if we do spec builds, we just say, here's what we need, and they build it to their spec and they give us the price. On demos, we don't get to change anything. These are trucks they ordered in 2022 and 2023.
So if you had your preference and we just said, buy what you want, what would you buy?
Any of the top 3. So I will say the one for PennCare, you can see on here is $277,528, and there'd be an additional add-on of about $7,200. That's just for certain mounts and features that we need on there for our equipment. You'll notice all of them have an add-on, and that's not add-ons in the truck as much as it is add-ons to the truck, meaning there's certain mounts for our monitors and our vents and stuff that go in there. That is going to be identical to the one truck that we have on loan now and the one truck that TIF bought us. Those are going to be, those 3 would be identical in every shape, form, fashion, manufacturer, setup, layout, cabinetry, door handles, whatever. The only difference is this would be a 24 chassis instead of the 22s that we have. The Crossroads one is a Demere's MXP 170. That's for $283,649 with an additional $7,200 add-on. That is very, very similar to what that would be, it's pretty much their version of that medics truck. So if you're comparing apples to apples, those are the two that you could probably compare and say equal features, equal everything. The Horton is probably the safest and best
Is
built.
that it?
Go ahead.
Is that a 22?
Yep. That is my one problem. There's two problems with this truck in my opinion. First off, all of the other ones are offering 24 chassis. This is a 2022 chassis that they've had on reserve. So we're getting it in 25 with a 3-year-old chassis. Not gonna be any miles on it, but still, it's something that's been sitting around. It is the most expensive ambulance out of all of them. It is probably the safest ambulance out of all of them. They have a feature in the back that in the patient compartment syndrome, the straps go over, they harness in the provider, and the patient provider can still move freely around the ambulance while harnessed in. And if it ever sensors a crash, it snatches them back into the seat, and it actually has airbags built into the seat belt that protects them during getting launched back into their place. Not super particularly happy about the cabinetry in it. Is it something we could work around? Absolutely. But the cabinetry and it being a 22 are the only downfall. Osage comes in. The reason you see a bigger number on the add-on there is just because their stock demo features come with less. So we would have to add on more to make it equal of what we need as far as oxygen mounts and certain things like that. That box would be similar to the Type 3 boxes we have. Those are the Osage ones there. Not bad boxes, not my favorite. And that's just where I'm at.
So on the 4-wheel drive, and the ones that aren't 4-wheel drive, do they have chains on them?
Type 1s, no, because we can't put chains on those ambulances, the Type 1s, because they have liquid springs, meaning they adjust the ride as they go, and if you have chains have to be set to a certain height, and if it changes height while you're going on the road,
Dragging.
you're gonna rip that $10,000 apparatus on and send it through $2,000 worth of tires. So they don't do chains on those. Honestly, and I've learned in the last couple of years, 4x4 versus 4x2 on these ambulances kind of moot, because as big as those trucks are, they put semi-radials on them. So I don't know what type of traction you're getting in 4-wheel drive with semi-radials. It's not like there's some, MTs or ATs on there that get you good traction. There's semi-radials that are on there, and that's why a set of tires costs us, $2,800 to put on that thing for a set of 6, because they're obviously a oddball size and they're just expensive tires. But my pick would be, if I had to pick any of the top 3, I've talked with my staff, just kind of thinking what they'd like. It's kind of split down the middle between those 3. I think they'd obviously be happy with any of them. I do like the idea of having triplet trucks, that everything's identical, everything's the same for provider, mobility of everything being in the identical location in every truck. That this not cabinets, not slightly different, everything is literally the same.
Well, also,
I like the safety features of the Horton, not gonna lie. It's a nice add-on, but then I can sit here and, play devil's advocate with myself and say, my people you can't be strapped in all of the time to performing certain things in the back of the truck. Most runs you can, but it can't happen all the time. So it's just, I did go out, I did talk to Russ at the bank, here locally, who we have a loan through now. We went to FDIC, and that's where we got a lot of these contacts for these trucks. Talked to, actually the Horton rep gave us a gentleman's or a business number out of Tennessee called Tax Exempt Leasing. They offered loan, all I did was a $300,000 loan bid, that's about as high as this one was gonna be, just for a starting price. I did talk to Russ. He doesn't have anything official right now. The lowest he can get our rate down is between 7 and 7.5 on interest rate. He said he was going to try to work on our deposit, our bank account that our money's in, to see if they can increase. I don't know, but that to me, where the money doesn't sit in there long, I don't know that that's going to be super beneficial. It may be on my pay grade. They're at 7 to 7.5%. This company is between 6.29 to 6.19. They're out of Tennessee, Thomas Stations, Tennessee. They only deal with government agencies and stuff that are tax exempt. It's called leasing, but there is no buyout at the end. It's pretty much a loan. We got 3-year, 5-year, annual and biannual options. And you're looking at anywhere from $35,000 to $55,000 biannually for 5 and 3 years respectively, or $71,500 to $113,000 for annual 5 and 3 year respectively. Right now, in my budget, I've got $125,000, I think, appropriated for vehicle purchase or debt. Part of that is for the loan payment we have. Part of that was to purchase the new vehicle that we got this year. So for me, it would only really be about a $35,000 increase in my budget next year to pay for both trucks. Because I've already got half of it built in, not built in, but half of it was already allocated this year for a different purchase, so it'd only be adding about additional 35. And my cash flow's been negative since I've been here, or positive since I've been here. So we've got, yeah, back that up. Cash flow's been positive, so like I said, we've got $785,000 sitting in the bank right now. I was asked by a couple council members, why don't I just pay for it out of that? I don't like that idea because it's going to affect me at budget time, because during budget time, I'm partially dependent on what's sitting in my bank account to calculate budget projection for the following year. So I do have the money to pay for it, I just don't like the idea of depleting half of my cash ledger at the time.
We've been down that road.
And we worked hard to build that up from the $160,000 I started with 3 years ago, and I'd like to keep it closer to $1 million than closer to 100,000 if at all possible.
It's critical to keep that cushion there because you never know what incidentals are gonna pop up
Yeah.
that didn't plan for in the budget, right? So yeah.
And you know, if we do have a thing where, you know, we have these trucks and then trucks get wrecked or something, I'm gonna have to go out and purchase an ambulance instantly, and I'm gonna have to have that reserve, and then we'll worry about the loan process later to kind of feed that back type deal. So I'd rather not just pay for it out of my cash ledger.
We got 4 vehicles here again. I mean,
I would, if
you need to get to 1.
well, the problem is these are all demos. So since I've talked to these companies at FDIC, between these 4 companies, they've sold about 10 ambulances. PennCare, for instance, started with 5 demos, they're down to 2. Crossroads is down to this 1. Horton is down to this 1. Osage has 2 or 3 available. So I don't know that I'd like to sit here and be like, I want the PennCare one, call them tomorrow and be like, hey, it's spoken for, and then have to come back and be like, all right, if I've got all the specs here, I've got the drawings, I've got everything, I'm confident in saying we can function out of any of these trucks. Obviously, I have my preference, but
Yeah, told right there.
the PennCare one would be my preference, or the Crossroads one would be my preference, just because they would make,
It's my preference too.
they would make, they're the cheapest ones.
Well, it's also a bigger chassis.
Right, exactly. And I understand what you're saying about four-wheel drive, but Brad, I think you can contest this. We got a F-550 rollback, and the set of tires on that thing is a billy goat. It will go absolutely anything in the winter. And driveways, you never know what you're gonna be going down.
Yep, so, I mean, the top 2 are my preference. I really like certain features of the Horton overall. It being the most expensive and it not, I feel like I'm settling for $300,000 on that one because it's not everything that I would like it to have. That's just my preference. But, you know, it's your poison. I'm just presenting to you what's available. I will say, just so you guys know, the PennCare one would, current timeline delivery is summer of '25 delivery. The Crossroads one is January of '25 delivery. The Horton one is November of this year. The Osage one is July of next year, of '25.
Well, the kicker is we're not in dire need of an ambulance.
Correct.
But, I guess my question's gonna be is cause I was here when the, I'm gonna call the debacle happened. Is this gonna put us closer back to being on some sort of rotation?
This is one every year, and this is where we need to be, and that's,
'Cause
I got asked, you know, not in a bad way, I got asked by the council, is there gonna be ever a year you don't ask me for the ambulance? I said, no, I mean, that's what we have to do here. There'll be a 1-year break every 4 years that we don't.
Well,
And
the
then you
kicker-
start the process over again.
To me, the kicker is going to be that the resale value of the ones that we're selling or whatever. And if we can, it's like anything else, and I'd like to see the sheriff get in that same boat of getting in a lease program to where every 2 years, he just turns a vehicle in and they can bring him 2 new ones or 3 new ones or whatever.
And like I said, I did talk to 2 of these companies about selling, whether it's on consignment or,
Yeah,
out there handing business cards out for the one I'd like to sell. He believes we can get somewhere between 35 and 50,000 for that ambulance.
but if you run it in the ground, you're not gonna get that.
We're gonna get $8,000 for it, and it's just kind of
Yeah.
their markup, thanks, and they'll reuse what they
So if
can.
we're financially stable, and I believe you finally have got us there, if we're financially stable and we can rotate, for people that understand, we had a past director who bought 5 ambulances in 1 year. I mean, you can't get on a rotation when and you can't come up with $1,500,000 to buy 5 more. So you're never in a rotation of being able to say, okay, we can afford 1, but we can't afford 5. I mean, so
That's not the rotation we want.
that's not the rotation we wanna be in.
No, and here, all works well, we'll carry 2 loans at all times, and then the final year we'll start the 3rd, so there'll be 1 year that you carry 3 loans, but it's because the other one's falling off that year. That's gonna be the rotation we're gonna have to be on. And then in the middle of that, after 2 years of purchasing new, if everything stays the same, year 3 is when we do our remount and pay for that out of cash ledger, hopefully. To say, hey, we're gonna fund this $200,000 purchase and just be done and not finance it, and then start the loan process over again.
I think that's a good idea, or a good plan, and I would, you can't sell junk and recoup any kind of money to purchase, further down the road. And,
So, and then I will.
So I wanna ask you this,
Yes,
I
sir.
mean, on a year to year, how many miles are we putting on a vehicle, roughly, just estimated? 60?
60 to 75,000. And that's why, we're getting rid of 2020s and 2021s, but these don't have 30,000 miles on it like your car does. I mean, we're doing an oil change a month. I mean,
Okay.
and that's,
I understand that, I mean, it's the same with police cars, I mean, those cars are moving every day, so.
I mean, warranties on these, and I will say the diesel warranties are 100,000 mile, the gas are 60,000. But the year term for miles doesn't mean anything to us, because you can have a 10-year warranty, but
It's gonna be out.
even if it's 100,000 mile, 10-year, I'm at 100,000 miles year 2, your 10 years doesn't mean anything.
Yeah. You guys
So-
okay?
I mean, I like where you're at,
I guess my-
crossroads are roughly the same amount of money, I guess.
Yeah, I think there's a $3,000 or $4,000, $5,000 difference.
I'll leave that to you, Nick.
I guess my ask would be to give me a cap and I'll pick what's available. And I'm confident that I can stay under 300,000 on both of those. The only one I couldn't would be that Horton, just because it's at 299.
I can see issues with that,
Huh?
I see issues with that.
Oh, so,
Somebody strapping in, or not strapping in,
little dummy video they got's pretty cool.
I can imagine. Is that Trevor?
We can put him in there and try it out if you want. He gives me enough eggs. I own 1 or 2.
Yeah. Well, I'll entertain a motion, if you guys are both good with it, I mean, I'll entertain a motion to Nick to purchase a new ambulance, a 2024, not to exceed $300,000, and he's going to finance it through a
Bank of some
bank of
sort.
some sort.
I'll make that motion.
Randy makes that motion, Greg,
I'll say.
Greg seconds that, I'll make that unanimous, so.
You guys want these for your pleasure, or do you not care?
I don't
You trust me
know
on
what
that?
it looks like.
Okay.
I just don't want a bunch of graphics on it again. The last couple you've done they look pretty good.
They're gonna be black and red
Anything about the
ambulances.
building?
What, I go, what's the date?
May 14th.
14th? For that, I don't know.
So we got all the quotes and everything.
Quotes are in, resolution was signed your last meeting.
That's correct. Oh,
And
it
then-
was just it was just advertised, wasn't it?
For the
Yeah.
building? Yes, it was advertised,
Yeah.
yeah.
So we
They're all
just-
set to go with it.
We go on my question is, do I need to go to council now for this?
Not next month, because we'd still have to advertise before we did. Actually, we need an additional appropriation, and I can't advertise
But I
for May.
won't have, there will be no monies involved until next year.
You
Yeah,
still have to make the purchase though.
But it won't be till next year.
no additional appropriation. The commissioners are approving the purchase through the resolution.
Wouldn't it just get approved at budget time as a
It's
debt
part of
service?
budget, yep.
So do I need to get their approval? I mean, I talked to them last
I don't-
meeting
Yeah,
and there was nothing for them to vote on. The discussion seemed fine as long as it
I just let
was.
them know. what
I
they're
did.
doing.
I let them know it was coming. I just need.
But I would let them know during their budget cycle that.
I do every
I've-
year.
I've got debt out here for these payments.
I do every year. It's in
We're
a,
not-
it's in
we're
a
not
specific
Running
line.
into some situation.
I just didn't know if I needed to get their approval or not.
What do you think, Zach?
not that I'm aware of, but I'll double check on
I guess
that.
I'm not understanding what's the debt,
You carry debt from year to year in payments,
but
but he's,
we're talking about for the building that was approved.
no,
No,
we're talking
this is
about-
back at the end.
Exactly.
That's done.
We jumped on that.
not do segues around here.
So,
He's saying he's not gonna purchase it till next year, but he has to buy it this year.
I have to commit, even on paper, to say we're buying this.
but you have to go secure the loan this year, correct?
I mean, it would be, we're gonna do the paperwork, but we won't sign paperwork, we won't do anything.
Or make a payment.
Or make a payment until 2025.
Wait, so what do you mean commit? What kind of commit?
I have to tell PennCare, we will purchase this vehicle in
It's a year out.
September of 25, when it becomes available.
I would still think that if it is for the purpose of purchasing, the financing that is used is a loan, I still think that you need to go get approval from the county council.
That's fine.
Would he do that through the budget process, since it's that far out, or separately?
Or both.
Or both?
I would think it would have to be before he says and commits to.
Okay.
Whether that is redone during budget and said like,
Yeah, I
I need
can't
to
wait
make
till
sure
budget
we
to come
budget
for
for
this.
this.
No,
You're
but
already on the agenda for the 14th anyway
Okay,
for the
'cause
other
it-
stuff, so.
As long as we can have an agreement or some type of verbal
Just get
conversation with them, their blessing.
they're blessed.
I mean, it'll be in the minutes that they're in agreement with it, so.
Okay. I feel like I got that last meeting,
It's
but we
the
can do it
blessing.
again.
And I think by statute, they have to specifically approve loan agreements.
Okay.
Like, if you're
Kinda
financing through a
weird,
bank on a loan, I think county fiscal body has to approve that, and it actually may have to.
They signed the last one.
Yeah.
It's us, but
Okay.
just get their blessing.
Yes, sir. Anything else?
Fuel, are you still, fuel still up?
Oh, my fuel budget's blown.
But I mean, I guess
Which we knew that.
where I'm getting at is, we didn't lock it in.
No.
Because it was all over the place.
Last week we paid a little over $2,000. Right?
Still got a Premier, still bringing a tank?
Mhm.
Okay.
But our run volume has been up
Oh, yeah.
for the time like 20%
there
in the
was-
last month.
Something else.
No, so it's not the cost.
It's not so much the cost, it's how
The
much we're
run
running.
volume you're doing.
It's not helping.
Question I have is, cause I sent you a picture of an ambulance the other day in town.
Yes.
And then today I see, another one in town.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not the hospital's ambulance, it was another ambulance.
Mhm.
Is there reasonings for those, or are those transfers from places to places here?
Typically, I feel like the hospital and I have good communication. Ish, depending on who it is. But for the most part, we have good communication. Most of those you're probably seeing that are Baptist ambulances or TransCare are typically
This was-
patients.
What's the one that tried to,
Links.
no, it's the one that tried to negotiate in Ford County. Starts with an A or something.
AmeriPro?
AmeriPro.
So what those typically.
It wasn't near the hospital, it came from like South 31, turned to the stoplight, went, got on the interstate.
So what a lot of them probably are one of three things. They can be patients coming back to nursing homes typically, or home from a hospital, Floyd, Clark, Norton, somewhere that's not in our county, starting there and coming back to this county. They can be, hospice or swing bed patients going from hospital to hospital, because, you know, Norton and Clark will swing bed their patients up to Scott on the floor, so they might be coming from there to the hospital, or it's just them coming through. I will say, I know, last year when Norton sat up here and said that they were ready for their ambulance service to help assist us when needed, has not come to fruition yet. So that is unfortunate, and we have had other services take a few runs for us just because.
You're talking about transfer?
Yes, sir. Just because we're getting smoked.
That's fine. I just, like I said, I know last meeting we had a conversation about, I think, deeds or transfers.
Links, yeah, trying to, they're not starting. Now, I will say, the VA, if a patient's going from Scott Memorial to VA, we cannot transport those patients because the federal government has a private contract with the VA and they use a specific ambulance provider. So their ambulance provider drives up from Louisville, picks them up and takes them back.
Even in an emergency situation?
If it's life or death, we transfer them, but if it's life or death, they typically go to like U of L or somewhere. So as long as it doesn't go to the VA, we can take them.
Okay. Well, I've heard many times people go, I wanna go to the VA, and we take them. So.
Yeah, well, we can do 911s, but we can't go from the hospital to hospital VA.
Okay.
So there's a couple parameters that are, and then one of the nursing homes has a contract with a specific hospice group that deals with their patients. They have 2 or 3 patients that take them to their transfers and stuff, but beyond that.
I was just curious, cause usually I see Switzerland County coming through.
Yeah, they're the ones that will do those hospice transfers or convalescent contract transfers. That there's nothing we can do about it.
Yeah, that's fine. Okay.
But we're, like I said, we're projected at like 51 or 5,200 runs next year. I don't, yeah, almost 5,100 runs next year. From last year, we did 4,700, so that's 400 run increase. I'll take the help every now and then.
Okay. All right.
Anything I can do for you guys?
Fully staffed.
Issues, concerns, comments?
You're doing good, thank you.
Thanks, Nate.
Tell everybody thanks.
Wayne.
Follow that.
I'd like to get on that rotation.
Anybody can follow him.
Here's what we're looking at, guys. We just recently was awarded a big grant for new gear. We're looking at trying to make that gear last. We're liking to get a washer. Like to get 15 extra tanks, and yeah, we have 16 people that are certified air backpackers. There's a rip pack in there.
What'd you say?
Backpackers.
That's right.
But there's a rip pack in there that if we had to get rid of something, would be something that we would consider getting rid of. But the big thing is the washer and the gear bags. We'd really like to make this gear last another 20 years and keep it looking healthy.
I think the main thing is we're operating off $40,000 a year.
Oh,
So for us to get this grant for 15 new sets of turnout gear and 15 new air packs, it takes like, you know,
It's
5 years worth of our budget to replace this stuff. And the turnout gear we're in now, most of it's early 90s, and it's hand-me-downs from, you know, we've been to New York, to Baltimore,
Alabama. We've gotten gear from everywhere, and we're getting kind of tired of that. The only difference in that gear and the gear we have is their gear is newer. it's still rags, but it's newer.
They've used it.
Mhm.
Right. But basically all this is stuff to take care of, to help us take care of the equipment that we're getting. And then the air bottles, you know, most generally, anytime you use an air pack in a fire, you're gonna use more than one bottle. So, I know the previous fire that we had, we actually had to call Hanover over. Cause I think we used all of our air packs. Scottsburg came out with mutual aid, used all their air packs, and we actually had to have Hanover fill our bottles on scene. Should that be the case, we won't have any spare bottles with these new air packs. So,
So are they the same packs that you,
No, these are Scott's, the pop-ons,
so you had
like you
MSA?
guys got, yeah.
Right.
We had MSA, yeah.
So they're not interchangeable?
No,
Correct.
And you know, that kind of stuff, we went to Baltimore and got that, there's 40 of them. And, we're looking at giving them to anybody in the county that wants them, so.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a win-win for us and somebody if you guys approve this.
Okay. This dryer, what is that?
That's,
It's a-
Turnout gear.
yeah, it's
It's like the
PVC
arms,
pipe,
yeah,
and the
that's
arms go
what-
out.
That's where I thought you were talking about. It's just moving air.
Yeah, it, just something to be nice.
Yeah, I get it, cause I've tried to design one of those once before, it didn't work out.
right.
But,
And
yeah,
the-
people
the-
don't understand, you can't put a turnout gear in a regular commercial dryer.
And that's what's, this washer's not, commercial, it's even heftier than one.
So for those taking notes on this, it's washer.
I understand. Speaking for.
Hey, I'm old school, it's Porsche.
I used to do that to my kids, I said, spell that for
Oral?
me. Spell washer.
Yeah.
But, anyway, you guys got comments? I mean, I'm just trying to figure out if we're talking about ARPA money, we're talking about opioid money, I mean, and I'm trying to figure out, I know fire departments and opioid money is, kind of a stickler sometimes, but I mean,
I think that we expended
the
the unrestricted
unrestricted,
opioid funds, so the only thing remaining would be funds that are directed at specific opioid abatement uses, and I don't actually know what the requested purchase is for, so, but
that's 30,000.
is any of this equipment that you use to respond to an opioid overdose?
Oh, yeah, then block it, everybody burns their house, so yeah, they'll do it.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
That was pretty quick.
He's an experienced.
He thought about that all day while
That's why
walking.
he's the chief.
I was like, man, that was a fast
I
response.
mean, I think that, so you guys operate a volunteer firefighting business as a 501c3 per four. You're registered with the state and everything. So I believe you could use ARPA funds if you wanted to. I do not believe that you can use the restricted opioid funds.
We have it unrestricted.
You have it unrestricted?
We have 30,000 in unrestricted, yeah.
152.
Does that include the appropriation for the parks?
The 85.
The
I should have my hopes up.
We're still, all right,
No, it does not, I haven't received an appropriation or,
well, we're getting ready to.
okay, that's why.
We were, well, we had.
But even with the 85, you would still have a little bit there to cover the 30.
On the
It's
second page.
152.
So what remains in unrestricted after our last meeting is 152 through 56.
Correct.
Okay,
But that 85 and
it's
has to-
85 has been kind of
yeah,
not yet approved, but
well,
ostensibly both parties have
yeah,
entertained the idea of an interlocal agreement for that 85.
yeah, but still leaves 70.
That leaves, yes, 70 something. So, yeah.
In the unrestricted.
Does that include was that the IT department website with the secondary 2-year payments?
Is that the? That came out all,
No, that didn't come out of opioid.
that was what, 4,000 or 5,000?
It was, we argued about it for a little bit, trying to figure out.
We don't argue in here. Lord, right. Seriously. One was,
$19,243.08 with 3,400
That,
resolved to use for the 2025 and 3,400 for 2026.
that does not include those 25 and 26 payments. Not that, it's just the 19,243, so that's another $7,000.
yeah,
So you'd still have sufficient.
Yep.
Okay.
When we do anything, you know how to chip seal. Look at Bill.
He knows how to lean on a shovel.
oh, man.
But,
I know how to drive backwards.
that's right.
A lot of people don't.
We've been out there years
Been a long
ago,
time.
and we know how to do it, so. Yeah, I think that I'm good with it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Alright,
Where's the quote? I see that.
Thank you.
Thank you. So we would,
Fish fry in September, I'll feed you guys to come out.
that's a bribe, we can't do that.
No, no, I promise you.
no, you still gotta pay for it. So we would, from a council's perspective, we would advertise this for the June meeting. So it wouldn't be any need for you to, come in May, because they couldn't, other than talk to them about it. But the June meeting, we could have it advertised, we could have the ordinance ready, and then we could talk through it and all that.
You just be wasting your time.
Yeah, so I think just the June would be it, and I can get you the date on that in just
Okay.
a second.
Do we need to do a resolution for that?
Yep.
Mr. Counselor?
I drafted it. Second.
I'll entertain a motion while he's getting the resolution together. I'll entertain a motion to, is this all from one company? Using unrestricted opioid money in the amount of $30,339.58, to municipal emergency services for Johnson, Township Volunteer Fire Department to purchase, looks like gear bag, air pack cylinders, looks like 15 of those, 27 gear bags. Is that a RIT pack?
Mhm.
And then,
Washer.
the washer, and the dryer. Which is
That's I believe the quote has the chemical that you're supposed to use.
Yes, yeah, it's down here, and then it's got a basic dosing pump and a Decon ready laundry detergent, which also people don't realize that this uniform is Nomex and you can't use certain stuff on it. So anyway, it looks like a lot of items, looks like a lot of PPE and PPE cleaning supplies and equipment to keep that PPE. And quite honestly, people that don't know, supposedly if you're involved in a fire and you're supposed to wash your gear after every fire, so that you're not setting in it the next time smelling everything that you had at the last fire, so. And a lot of those agents are cancer causing. So I catch myself not doing that, but anyway, I'll entertain a motion to, allow payment out of the unrestricted opioid money for $30,339.58
I'll
to.
make that motion.
Randy makes that motion, Greg?
I second.
Greg seconds that, and I'll make that unanimous.
Yeah,
You got 10 with the 58 cents. He's gonna, we can read the resolution later, it's kind of a foregone conclusion. But, outside of that,
I appreciate it, it's gonna be a big help to us. I don't know, did you ever hear about the grants that come through?
From Homeland Security,
No, this was from the state, Homeland Security.
it's still.
oh, there's that
Is
state.
it?
Yeah.
Close
No, I
to
mean-
200,000 for us, so.
Yeah, well, you guys applied for it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Finley, I think.
Finley and, Lexington.
I haven't, have you, Chief Ritchie heard anything about that either? I know he
We
talks
don't.
to some.
I don't think we're eligible.
It doesn't matter, I mean, they look at everybody's budget, but, there's not you can't make this, it's just everybody can put in for it.
I think James was kind of working with those guys to help everybody out.
Good, glad to have somebody in the county
Yeah.
that understands.
Actually, Mike asked him.
I sent it to you.
All right,
Whatever.
well, I appreciate all you do.
Thank you.
Appreciate everything you guys do for the county.
Thanks, Randy.
Thank you.
Have a good one.
You get him home, put him in bed now.
Steph, he's got a chip seal now.
He's pulling from a landfill, they say.
Yeah,
We'll come pick him up.
Finley. Brad. Justin,
Hi guys,
how you doing?
I'm good.
Hello.
For people who don't know me, I'm Dustin Jordan. I'm the Assistant Chief for Finley Township Fire Department. This is Brad Williams, he's the chief. Coming to you guys this evening, Austin Fire Department, back a month or so ago, had purchased a ladder truck, which in return, gave them a truck that they no longer need, and, they offered it to us for a good price. Included is the spec sheet on the truck and some pictures, and there's also some equipment that is going to be through in with that truck that would help Finley Township as well. But the truck is a 95 Freightliner 5-man cab. Austin bought this truck, not brand new, but like 6 months old. It was a demo unit, and they've had it ever since. Low miles and low hours for the year of the truck. 1,000-gallon tank and a 1250 gallon per minute pump, which helps us out in Finley Township because we're very limited on our hydrant, so bigger tank size helps us tremendously.
Short wheelbase too, isn't it?
It's a little bit longer, but it fits in our building. It will fit our needs just fine. Also with that truck, they are including a set of Amcus hydraulic rescue tools, spreader, cutter, and 2 rams to push dashes and stuff like that, which Finley Township does not have currently. At this time, Scottsburg Fire Department and Vienna Fire Department cover mutual aid for our area in any need of extrication for a vehicle accident. We still respond in case there's a fire. We could get there sooner maybe to help put a fire out if somebody's stuck in a car, but as far as extrication tools, we do not have any at this time. With this truck, we would get that. They're also giving us a gas-powered exhaust fan. It comes with a gas-powered generator to run scene lights, and then it's also got a radio in the truck already on the county fire frequency, so it's something we won't have to purchase at a later date. On the back sheet, I've just got what a used price value of everything that they're giving us is. And the last few pages are 3 different quotes for trucks similar in specs, what they're going for right now. We're coming to you guys this evening asking for $25,000. That will pay for this truck, and that's with the everything included on the truck. And just to touch on a little bit, right now, Finley's annual budget for fire protection through the township is $11,005. And we talked with our township trustee 2 meetings ago about a price increase, or a contract increase. Our contract has been the same amount for 10 years now. She said that our township trustee advised us that they're working on trying to get us an increase. The most that they would be able to do is $3,000. And our insurance, just our insurance cost for a year for the our members, our fire department, and our trucks is $12,952. So every year we're going in the hole just to pay insurance. That's not alone fuel price. I mean, it's not touching anything.
Yeah.
So if we were to get our increase in a contract for the fire service, which would up us to $14,005 a year, even after all our expenses paid and we saved every penny that we could, it would take us 14 years to pay for this truck. I know you guys touched on it just a little bit with Johnson, but yes, we were recipients of the Department of Homeland Security gear grant and SCBA's. We got 16 sets of turnout gear and 16 SCBA packs. That's I think it was $240,000 estimate is what we received for no money whatsoever. And a lot of that had to do with the budget, because our budget is so low out there. I mean, there's just not a whole lot of business in Finley Township, so there's not a lot of revenue for us. And we work hard for what we have. Every member on the department chips in to do maintenance on trucks, things like that, because we can't afford to take things out. The truck that we're looking to replace, and if we get this truck, we are going to sell the truck we're replacing. It is a 1984 GMC. It is our main primary engine, and the truck is it has some rust in the tank. The older fire trucks had metal tanks to what the new trucks have polyplastic tanks. The truck has a lot of rust building up in the tank, which is actually a safety concern for us if we was to go inside and fight a structure fire from the inside, because that rust could clog the hose up and a firefighter would run out of water. So that's the main reason why we're wanting to get rid of this truck and try to purchase this truck if we can. We're asking for the full price. We have money set back in the bank account, savings account. We don't have enough to cover the cost of the truck, but we're afraid to touch our savings at this time because of how our contract's going through and our total bills. We're constantly going in the hole on paper every year to pay for insurance and fuel cost and utilities at the fire station, stuff like that. So we were asking for full cost on this truck if we could. I don't know if opioid funds would be available for this truck, or ARPA money. I don't know. We would take money anywhere we could get it. I mean, anything's appreciated, but this truck would be a huge benefit for not only us, but the whole Finley Township. I mean, our 2 primary engines, one is an 84 and the other one is an 87, our backup. I mean, parts are becoming obsolete on different things, and once they quit making parts and you can't find them, you're gonna have a truck that you can't use anymore.
So is the rescue equipment in working condition?
They are, yes. They are. That's the second set of extrication tools that Austin's ever bought, and they still fire up and run. We fired them up the other day and run them just to make sure, go through everything. They're heavy. They're a lot heavier than the newer tools, but yeah, they're bulky tools compared to what they have out on the market now. But and that's a huge upgrade for Finley Township just to have a set of extrication tools.
Well, the other thing with the truck, it's a center mount pump.
Top mount pump, yes, sir.
So, I mean, you're not staying on the road if you're on the road pumping, so.
Yeah, the pump controls is between the cab and the back of the truck. You stand in between the cab to operate the pump. It keeps the guys off the ground, so you don't have to worry about getting hit by traffic. You know, especially on our narrow county roads, they're pretty tight out through Finley Township. I mean, this truck here, it would be a blessing to Finley Township and, would serve us for a lot of years. I mean, the trucks we have now, we maintain what we can and keep them in working order. But, this would be a huge upgrade for us, just to get a newer truck.
Well, it's been a good truck for Austin, so.
It has. And, you know, I mean, the only reason Austin's wanting to sell the truck, they gave us a good deal on the truck for one. But, since they bought the lighter truck, they've also got 2 other engines and that truck just sits. And they don't want it to sit, they want it to be put to good use, because if a truck sits, then you have a lot of problems out of them.
Yeah. Guys, questions, comments?
I mean, I appreciate those guys at Austin working with y'all.
Yeah.
I know early on, when Jody Parks there was talking to me about their need for that ladder truck, they had told me that they thought that there could be, you know, potentially they might have this truck to work with you guys. And I kind of heard about this early on, and I appreciate them working with you all too, because this is a nice truck for the money. There's no question. I mean, so I appreciate those guys, you know, taking one for the team and helping the county out.
Yeah, cause I think the idea was if they were gonna sell it, list it online or sell it out of county, they was gonna ask for 50 for it, so, I mean.
So, Mr. Attorney, is that something we could take out of the unrestricted?
Oh, you could take that out of the unrestricted. I'm just trying to figure out to make sure that we have sufficient funds. I think we do.
I think that'd leave us about 45
Yeah, that's what I'm-
unrestricted.
That's what I'm calculating here. 31,000 is about what we have left. As long as the 85,000 that you said for the interlocal is just 85,
That's,
there's
yeah,
not.
that's what it was.
It should be exact, a copy of the interlocal should be somewhere. It should be exactly 85.
We don't have that for the city. She didn't.
I think I might have it, hang on.
I think it was 85 is what he said.
Yeah, I think it was.
It was dead on 85, so.
But
Well, I'll entertain a motion if
I'll make a
what's
motion.
the amount?
25,000.
25 even.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
85.
Newsom's got her calculator line going over here. Oh, got her phone out.
Yeah, 30,979.90 is what we would have left in the opioid fund.
After this
37.
25.
No,
Before,
before.
we have
So you
5,000.
leave about $5,000 in there.
That's not what I had a while ago, cause I was figuring.
I had
We took-
37,000. We had 152, 356, 56 minus 85. Did you?
And then we took out the 30 we
and
just
we took
took.
out another 30 something.
And then the 7 for the 2 year.
That's correct.
Oh, the 7. That's what I'm missing. Okay.
Well, we'll get smaller draws, but we'll get another draw or so for the,
Yeah, I mean,
Opioids.
it kind of like,
it goes up and down.
yeah.
So, I'll entertain a motion. I mean, heck, for, me being a fireman 42 years, I've had the pleasure of working with some of these guys and also been blessed and with, being on Scottsburg of having some good equipment and having the money to be able, I mean, we've struggled sometimes to buy it, but I mean, we've always had good equipment and quite honestly, people work with a lot of stuff that some people would look at and go, man, I don't know how you do it, so, but this is a good truck and like I said, those conventional trucks that used to be able to go by and people, and I know in a couple of situations where people had passed away and just donated money to buy a new truck.
Right.
I think it happened in a couple of different fire departments, but that doesn't happen too much anymore. And I think it will be well served, so. I'll entertain a motion to give, Findlay Fire Department, or Findlay Township Volunteer Fire Department, $25,000 to purchase a 1995 Freightliner Fiera 1,250 gallon, 1,000 gallon tank, which that's huge, so.
I'll make a motion.
Randy makes that motion, Greg?
I second.
Greg seconds it, I'll make it unanimous, so.
You boys just bought your fire.
Thank you
You got
guys.
it anyway, don't you?
No, it's,
No,
it's
no.
still at Austin.
We did drive it to the Finley's Firehouse, make sure it fit in the station before we started this. So we wanted to make sure it was gonna fit before we asked for some
Well,
money.
you had to
But
knock the wall.
Yeah,
We got plenty
yeah.
of room back there,
Yeah.
so,
But-
yeah.
yeah, we
Yeah,
didn't
we got
have
plenty
to,
of
we
room.
didn't have to tear no walls down, so,
Just keep Jim out of
That
it.
is-
yeah, yeah. But no, we greatly appreciate it, and Finley Township's gonna greatly appreciate it.
Well,
Absolutely.
it's, I mean, we all help each other, so, but, glad to help.
We appreciate it. Did you say we would have to make the June council meeting to, okay.
It
Do
would be the
you,
June meeting.
do you know what date that is?
11th, I think is what.
It is 11th.
11th? Okay. What time, do you know what time that would be?
5:45 is when we hold the public hearing, which is public comments on anything that we're
Okay.
going through, and then 6 o'clock is when it really starts.
Which we had talked to a few council members outside a meeting and just said, hey, this might be something we're gonna take to commissioners to see if we could get approval for, and we got good feedback on it, so, but,
Wow, you're right, that's probably a $50,000-$60,000 truck.
yeah, and it's crazy to think because, you know, like a lot of the custom cab over trucks that a lot of the departments are going to, you can buy one in that age group cheaper than you can these commercial cabs, and it's just the prices went through the roof, and I think,
Copy of the packet or like a price.
There, this one.
this one here's the spec sheet we
Yeah,
had made
it's got
out,
the
and the
price.
price is on the back
Yeah,
of it.
that one.
Alright, we're just gonna put these all together.
And thanks for compiling all that information, that's good.
Oh.
Thank
Here, well, I want you guys to get a good visual of what we were talking about, and
That's Finley, and then this is Johnson.
Alright, we're on, that would be 8 and 9, wouldn't it?
Yes, yes.
So, we've already voted on it, so it's, we're good to go.
okay.
Thank you guys.
Thank you guys, thank you for your
guys.
time.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Randy.
Thank you, Randy. You guys have a good evening.
You too.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Zach, I think you're up on this interlocal with Austin about the parks thing.
Did I just hand that to somebody?
It's right here.
Okay.
You did.
Yeah, I was gonna go ahead.
I needed those.
And then there
First day of
was,
May.
I think
Was there a
there was
resolution that was
a resolution that
We're gonna leave, but we thank you guys.
Appreciate it.
Done a very productive meeting.
And volunteer boys don't get much. I was glad to see somebody help them out.
All right, thank you.
See you guys.
So, interlocal, is the first document. It talks about what the money will be used for, and how the money will be transferred, and the reporting that the Parks Board, the City of Austin Parks Board will do, while the project is being completed, to the county. It has to be filed with the recorder within 60 days, and then, and then filed with the State Board of Accounts. It does have to be approved by the Austin and the county's fiscal bodies. And
So this is the interlocal with the city of Austin for a park.
And, I want to thank the city's attorney for helping put that together. And then here's the resolution, just approving the use of ARPA funds to fund it.
Is that Tim?
So then that's, yeah.
Or is this clarified as 2 votes?
2 votes.
Alright. As Zach just alluded to, with the interlocal agreement between the city, or the Scott County government and the city of Austin's park board, actually, it'd be the city of Austin. And, this is for an interlocal to, give them some money to build a park in Spicertown, so, you guys have any comments or input?
Wait, it's not ARPA, it's unrestricted opioid.
Yes.
I'm
Yes.
sorry.
Yes. Comments?
We've already talked it.
So I'll entertain a motion to accept the interlocal with City of Austin.
I'll make a motion.
Randy makes that motion. Greg?
I'll second.
Greg seconds that. It's on the first day of May. 3 favor, 0. Oh, dang it. Sorry, I didn't do that. Yes, I did. We're gonna print another page for the City of Austin, cause you can pay attention there. First of May. Board of Commissioners. And also, resolution number 2024-R-10 is a resolution approving certain funds from the unrestricted opioid settlement fund for, $85,000 to the City of Austin. I'll entertain a motion for that.
I'll make that motion.
Here is the rest of the stuff. Actually, this is good. Tell her to take that out. One of those you've got to print another copy of.
When we get done, I'll look.
Oh, here it is. This is the one you got to print a separate copy. I'll entertain a motion to pass the resolution number 2024-12.
I'll make a motion.
Randy makes a motion, Greg.
I'll second.
Greg seconds it, I'll make that unanimous, so. I'm gonna go this way since you're gonna hand it off. Consideration, actually, we're back to the Austin. Oh, this is the Austin stuff. All right, that's it. Consideration of the Scott County Proclamation Problem Solving Court Month.
Oh, hang on, I got it here somewhere. I've got 2 of them printed off here, but there it is.
I guess this is, I guess I'll read it. Thank you. All right, Scott County, Indiana proclamation. Whereas we recognize problem-solving courts have been integrating treatment with justice and restoring lives and families for more than 3 decades. And whereas there are now more than 150 problem-solving courts in Indiana and more than 4,000 nationwide. And whereas we recognize that problem-solving courts are the cornerstone of justice reform sweeping the nation. And whereas we recognize that problem-solving courts are the most successful judicial system intervention in our nation's history, benefiting justice-involved individuals, victims, society. And whereas the problem-solving courts have saved an average of $6,000 for every individual they serve. And whereas we recognize that problem-solving courts significantly improve substance and disorder treatment outcomes, substantially reducing addiction and related crimes, and do so at less expense than any other criminal judicial strategy. And whereas we recognize that the problem-solving courts improve education, employment, housing, and financial stability, promote family reunification, reduce foster care replacement, and increase the rate of addiction mothers delivering babies who are fully drug-free. And whereas problem-solving courts facilitate community-wide partnerships bringing together public safety and public health. And whereas we recognize that problem-solving courts demonstrate that when one person rises out of the substance use and crime, we all rise. And therefore be resolved that we, the commissioners of Scott County and the state of Indiana, declare the problem-solving court month be established during the month of May. So, we all need to be signing that. And is this the same?
It's two copies of the
Yeah,
same.
they are the same.
I didn't know.
If we could execute 2 originals, I will be taking one of them.
Okay. All right, you guys all good with signing the proclamation?
Yep.
Question,
Yes.
in problem-solving courts, is this an adjunct to the circuit courts that go around here? Where do those fit into the current legal system?
Problem-solving courts are, they're not a different court system in the sense that they're operated within the circuit and superior court system that already exists by constitution and statute. It's just, they are alternative approaches to dealing with substance use disorder, where I think the normal approach would be to, have a prosecution, proceed with a case, you go to trial, somebody might be found guilty, maybe not, and then it's sent to jail or probation or something like that. Problem-solving courts have alternative theories relative to assisting people to end substance use disorder, to become certified. I don't know the specific process because I'm obviously not a judge, but the judges who actually operate problem-solving courts have to go through extensive training, and I think we have a system of courts here in southern Indiana that kind of partner together. I believe it includes Clark, Floyd, Scott, and Scott is a recent add-on to that. I want to say that there's another county, and I'm going to mess that up, so I apologize if I'm leaving somebody out, but
Judge Mount does this in Clark
Yes.
County.
yes.
And we're part of that, we just haven't been an official part of that.
I think he was getting up to the training requirements, because to be certified to do those things, you have to go through so much. And it's each specific judge has to do it, so at least that's my understanding. So like, to get that certification, it doesn't transfer, right, necessarily along with, like, say there's a new judge elected in a county, that new judge would have to go back through the same process. But it's a different way of looking at kind of the theories of punishment relative to the criminal justice system. I mean, there's deterrence, rehabilitation, punishment. This is a focus on rehabilitation, which is really not, I could argue, has not been a focus of the criminal justice system at large.
What was the criteria that determines whether a drug case goes to criminal court or is eligible for a problem-solving court?
It is a decision that is made by, most likely between judges, prosecutors, and defense attorneys.
I don't think everybody's eligible, because years ago, I looked at talking about drug courts, and at the time,
As to the
Jackson
specific
County.
criteria used for each individual case, I actually don't know. They have, like pretrial services and probation and other people like all participate in, I think, determining when a case what might be eligible for that, how it would work, what the resolution might be, what the person would need to do, and they regularly meet, I wanna say like 2 times a month, maybe more than that, while people are going through services, but like one of the original, I would say like one of the original, I don't know if I'd call it problem-solving court, but maybe it is, would be like Veterans Court. Okay, so their veterans were eligible under certain circumstances to go through veteran services in that court, and that might be a better alternative for everyone involved than proceeding through normal court. And I will just say, in my experience, Veteran Services Court is very difficult for the individuals that participate, and they really work to deal with whatever's going on. I think it's the same with these, so that's just my, as a person who has not participated in it, doesn't understand it from a personal perspective, that's my take on it.
Okay. Property abatement updates, cause number 2024-A-001 and cause 24-A-002.
So, I think, and I can't remember which
Which one belongs to which property?
Just thinking too.
So,
One's the Lover's Lane Goshen.
yes, I know that we have gotten back some notifications from one of the property owners. I wanna say it's the,
It's the property on Lover's Lane.
on Lover's Lane.
That packet was delivered.
Yep.
It was fine. We
We've
mailed the
received
second
some
time.
communication. My understanding of the communication is that, the individual, I don't know whether there's been subsequent communications, but has indicated basically that they do not have the ability to make any improvements and or maintain it in any kind of way at this time. And I think they asked a question about why is their property specifically being ordered to do this. I would just say that again, in this specific circumstance, you know, you guys are acting in kind of a quasi judicial capacity, administrative judicial court, so to speak. And we address complaints as those complaints and or issues arise. I don't wanna say that, I don't agree with the idea that they're singling anyone out. It's just that this was brought to our attention by a complaint process.
Yeah.
The same as would happen for any other property if a complaint is raised. I mean, again, we don't seek these things out necessarily. So that's kind of where we're at on that one. I don't know what your all's.
Would we go to the hearing?
So next would be basically to reissue, and basically on the basis that no improvements have been made or based upon the order, set a hearing and you can order a cleanup if you determine that that is
I think that's
justified based on the facts presented at that hearing and that hearing only.
I think that's where we need to be.
Yeah. I think we are in a much more difficult position on the other property because we have been unable to locate the owner, and it's my understanding that the registered owner is potentially deceased, and I don't know who has that specific property, but every attempt to serve suspected owners at different locations has basically ended in a return receipt without signature.
Well, that happened on some sign damage that.
Yep. Same thing.
That person just looks at it and goes, I'm not opening that. So.
I mean, we may
And
run
I don't know on this one, cause, Well, you checked in on part of that one, I think, because I didn't get, no, wait a minute, I got that packet back, never mind, I did get that packet back from them. It didn't get delivered.
Yeah.
I got them confused.
So I think you may,
Is there, does Missy have where she sent the tax bill?
we did,
We did?
and we got it back.
So are they paying their taxes?
Yeah, by cash.
Imagine, imagine
By
that.
cash.
So this is referencing the property out on Big Ox Road.
Yeah,
And so,
I bring it to hearing,
I think that's what we'll do.
if they're paying their taxes, we can just add it to their taxes.
Yeah, I just don't know who to serve for the hearing.
Can we just put in the paper like they do,
So
you know, where you're under, you know,
service by publication could be an option.
so we don't know where you're at?
Since we have exhausted the other attempts at the normal methods of service at multiple locations, so, you know, we could potentially do that. I'll look at whether or not service by publication is sufficient in this situation.
Well, first, I'll do some research on who it is, and then just ask some people, cause when that name came up, there were several people go, oh yeah, I know him, but you know, yeah, but maybe somebody knows more about his whereabouts, so, but, okay, so I'd say we need to at least do the hearing on the other one, but I'd like to do them both same time if we can see if we can find this person or a relative of this person.
We'll probably have to set those for a special meeting, just because it can.
Yeah, we did that before. Actually, they were in the afternoon, we did them
I think
earlier.
we did do them in that, like the regular business day.
Yeah. All right, visitors and economic director position. I know we've talked about this before, and we've also talked about combining them, and at this time, I think we need to combine them, and there is a printout that Jennifer posted, I've got it too, where it shows, where we've married them together. It is a thick packet because it is two job classifications together, but it also takes the responsibilities for what the visitors board, you know, executive job requirements and what, you know, what their duties are. It also falls into what, the job requirements and duties of the economic development director is. And I think at this time, cause we're halfway through the year, I think we can probably easily say, you know, and we need to get a person in that position, but we also can turn around and at this time be able to go to the council and say, hey, we need a bump on the visitors side for the economic development. And I want to make sure that we're, you know, kind of bump that salary up. And, but we need to do this so that we can get it advertised and see if we have any players out there that wants to apply for the job, so. So comments?
Something we need to get filled and, get somebody in that position and working, and like, and I agree with you, Mike, I mean, then we can kind of reevaluate where it needs to be next year, but, we need to get this position filled.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that the job goes hand in hand, really, economic development and visitors commission in a way anyways. So this just makes perfect sense and it was a great idea.
And keep in mind, we're missing out on, a lot of opportunities. There's a lot of things that go on and, so, you know, somebody with focus to obviously, you know, attend, as many things as possible and, that, you know, networking and, you know, having those relationships is a big deal and that's 3/4 of it, so.
Yeah. Well, also, I don't think we're ever gonna be in a position where we're paying a 6-figure salary to somebody for this position. I mean, I'd love to see us there, if it's driven that way, but where I see this position is initially, a college graduate that's trying to get he or her foot in the door someplace, and they're gonna move on in a year, 2 years, and we're just constantly gonna be rotating somebody, in the short term, I think, but because they'll network into a bigger job and network into that, we'll just be constantly changing. But also agree with what you're saying as far as we need a player that's worked for Scott County, and when he's in a meeting, he's pushing Scott County and not, well, they looked in Clark, Floyd, and Jeff, and they can't find anything, so Scott County might have something up there, and we need somebody pushing for us.
Focus on us.
Yeah, so
This would be like a the funding for this position is coming from multiple sources, from 2 different, or is it all from Visitors Commission?
well, right now, the funding's gonna come from the visitors, because they're the ones that have, and it's mid-year, and I'm sure the council doesn't have money budgeted, although we always had an open-ended economic development line item that we paid a fee to. It does have money, that it may not have money now, because I think we pay One Southern Indiana some money, to do that work for us, which, in turn, they've also said they would continue to do that and whatever, but we just need to get this going with what we have as a salary, and I think it's in the, I don't know what the salary is, but I mean, the point.
$37,539 annually.
So there you go, but where I'm going with that is that it's getting ready to, a month or 2 away from budget cycles, and council needs to be able to say, and us be able to go to them and go, we need this much money added to that, or whatever we can do, or, the Visitors Commission, I don't know how much the economic development side of it can draw from their money, because they may not be able to utilize hotel tax money, innkeeper's tax, or an economic development type of thing, so.
Yeah, so we will need to understand the salary commitment for that position before you hire somebody, because we'll have to be able to communicate to them what that's gonna be.
Well, and that's why I'm saying, right now, it's gonna be the 39,000 or 37,000, whatever.
And we're just approving the position description right now?
That's correct.
Right, okay.
So it's not gonna be a dual wage right now, it's gonna be a single wage, until we can get to the council and have them approve a budget for next year, because this year it's washed. So, anyway. Comment?
No, I move to approve the job description and get it posted and advertised.
Should I send that to Wagner, Irwin, and Shealy, since we combined it, and have them look at it? And
It's all their crap.
Okay.
I didn't know. It's technically, it is actually their
I
stuff.
know it's there too, so I didn't know by the changes if we need to do that or not.
It's both their job descriptions put together. So I don't know what more they're gonna do instead of, just add it to us and charge us a bunch of money to do the same thing. So, what's your pleasure? Greg's made a motion to accept the job, description for the visitor/economic development executive director.
I'll second that.
Randy seconds that, and I'll make that unanimous, so I guess we can post it. Speaking of posting jobs, the area plan person, the Marty, the Michelle Watts, did we post that job as well?
That's been posted, it'll come down Monday.
We have several applicants.
So we do have several?
Okay,
Last time I heard there was just one, so.
I know there's at least 2. Okay, and third one.
Good. And just to tell people, they're watching. Currently, we don't have a person in that position, but, reached out to the mayor of Scottsburg. They have a likewise position with Carmen Boley over at the city. And she is, you know, helping assist with permits and whatever she can at her level, so, plus Ben's still down there, but Ben doesn't do too much of that stuff. But, so anyway, if you're trying to get a hold of that office down there and Ben's not replying to you, then there should be a note down there that tells.
Those calls have been forwarded to our office. She's way busier than you think she is, so we need to hurry this
Oh, I
process up
guarantee
a
that.
lot.
I guarantee that.
Yes.
But anyway, what's the new DOL salary requirements?
We got a notification this week, an email, that they're gonna raise our exempt salaries. Let me see if I can find real quick where
Is this a
they're.
good thing or bad thing?
This is a bad thing.
It's gonna cost us some money.
Financially, budget speaking, it's not a good thing. From a personnel, then it's a good thing. But from a budget, it's,
It raises exempt salary requirements under the FLSA, or
is it,
Did it say?
I can't find my copy.
I'm seeing. White collar exemption,
So it was saying that the base,
it'll go to 43,888 on July 1st. And on January 1st, our exempt people will have to be at $58,656.
how many individual positions will that actually affect? Because we shouldn't have that many
We don't have a
FLSA
huge amount.
there we go.
exempt.
So I don't have the quantity. I think it's maybe 3 or 4
Okay.
total. But the dollar of impact, so in 2024, it's $11,000 is the impact. However, the dollar impact in 2025 is 106,000 because it's a $15,000 jump
Per
person.
position.
How many positions did you say?
I believe it's
It's
more in 2025 than it was in 2024 because of the base change. So
So do we have to change the salary ordinance?
we would have to change the salary ordinance.
We'll have to do that in June or.
Now, here's the thing, like the letter states, there's 2 options. You either increase your base
Or they're not exempt?
or they're not exempt.
So you have to offer,
Overtime.
so they can.
So that
pay overtime.
They could become salary, non-exempt, and then they have comp time. Or you can move them to hourly, and then they have the potential for overtime, comp time, yada, yada, yada.
What's the FY 25 impact, you said?
$106,404.48 to be exact. And I can
Can
get
you
you
do
the
a-
quantity.
And I know I'm asking you to do a bunch of work, maybe. Can you figure it either way and see if we can
The problem
It
is
would be-
currently we have no overtime, so I have no way of,
base in that?
yeah. And the other thing, so if it was, so let's just take my role, for example, I'm an exempt, okay? You would then begin paying for all the hours.
We're not gonna do that.
As I told Jennifer, I was like, I
She
could
said,
benefit
"Hey, I'm
from
not
this,
in."
but, it's gotta be for the
I
best of
get
the
that.
county, so.
I mean, I can only give maybe anecdotal support for the idea that if you went to the salary, non-exempt but eligible for comp and overtime, you would, depending upon the positions that we're talking about, you would get into that amount very quickly.
Well, you're probably talking Jeremy, you're probably talking Nick.
No, you're not talking Jeremy, you're
So
not
you're-
talking Nick, you're talking mostly chief deputies and a few elected.
We're not.
Your directors are not, they're above that
Doesn't
threshold.
fall in that.
And so it's 8
So
total.
it's either giving them a heck of a raise or take a gamble that they're gonna have a bunch of overtime or not overtime. And actually, if you're talking about like certain positions, like, you're right, certain positions could eat you up. But there's a handful of certain positions that you're probably gonna come out all right on, because they don't do anything outside of, an 8 to 5 job. And can you have some that are and some that aren't?
From a human resources perspective, to have somebody with the same job title and one be exempt and one be non-exempt salary would be a very bad idea.
I know, but I'm talking about departments. Like, if you have a certain department that at 5 o'clock they're done, they don't do anything else after that. And then you have a department, for instance yours, that there's a lot of extra stuff that's going on after the fact.
I'm a chief deputy, and the chief deputy at the assessor's office, you would then be treating the same role very differently.
Yeah.
And that's not,
I get that. Their responsibilities are totally different too, though.
and then yes, and that's why the pay is different.
I think I mean, normally the way the exemptions work is not that you qualify based on hours worked within, right? You qualify based on position type,
Yes.
right? So I think that's where you run into an issue, is if you're saying that certain positions qualify by position type and certain positions don't qualify by position type, but when you examine the substance of the positions, they are handling the same, not the same substantive
Volume.
material or volume, but the same
Yeah.
responsibilities and job duties, you will most likely have a problem.
Yeah, I had that problem with UPS. I had 65 or 70 employees, and the same manager making the same money I did had 6. And he made the same as I did. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I get it. We'll just have to figure it out, so.
We just kinda wanted to put that on the radar, cause.
Yeah, you can keep that under.
Keep it under.
Keep that on the radar. All right. Consideration of the regular special invoices, claims.
Oh, I'm sorry, here. And you got those in 2 batches, and the sheriffs came over really late, so Mandy was struggling with those put together.
She was able to.
She was able to, cause she is superwoman.
So there's no special ones, it's just the regular
Not
claims.
that I'm aware of, I don't have any.
Okay.
They're all just very.
So I'll entertain a motion to, because I know Mandy sent these out last week, and sent them out again, I guess some additional on Monday.
That was the 2 batches, cause she didn't
So-
get them.
I'll entertain a motion to accept the regular and special claims.
So, it's, the one with the sheriff, we didn't get it.
You got an
You
email,
got
but I
it.
think it came Monday.
Greg,
Oh, okay,
Or
okay.
Tuesday, I'm sorry.
Greg makes a
All
motion
right.
to accept the claims.
I'll second that.
Randy seconds that, and I'll make that unanimous, so.
I thought you were saying.
Consideration of the payroll for April 19th. Sign that.
I didn't sign that yet.
Why not?
Well, because, Mike.
Everybody had an opportunity to look at the payroll for April 19th.
Yes,
I'll entertain a motion to accept the payroll for April 19th.
I'll make that motion.
Randy makes the motion, Greg.
I'll second.
Greg seconds that, and I'll make that unanimous. Consideration of an FMLA.
Hold on. Yeah.
And while we're looking at that, consideration of the minutes for February the 7th, 2024, and March the 6th. Everybody had an opportunity to see the minutes. I'll entertain a motion to accept those 2 dates minutes.
I'll accept the minutes.
Randy makes that motion, Greg?
I'll say.
Greg seconds that, and I'll make that unanimous.
I'll make,
Did you, we have to sign those, or?
Yes, here, I've got a copy here, cause yours are stapled and it's so much easier just to run it through the.
I'll make a motion to accept the FMLA.
If you guys want to keep this, just for county records, I'll take this one.
Thank you.
All right, Randy's made a motion to accept the FMLA, Greg. I'll second. Greg says, seconds that, I'll make that unanimous. Anybody have anything else?
I do. This is kind of a area plan. There's a permit that's come through Scott County, we're looking for an address. I want you to look at that, it's for the Verizon tower, I believe it's the one you and I,
Yeah, I had that on my notes to bring it up.
okay. That's there, and they just need to get an address for it, I think that's on Rainy Lane, if I understood Stacy correctly.
She has, I mean, I'll go back and look at the, permits and stuff, cause the guy did call me, Preston Patton.
Or Patterson, something like that, Patton,
Yeah.
maybe? Yeah, Patton, I think it is.
He called me and said, and he sent me something, I think I forwarded it to you. Where Verizon is not the owner of the
They don't
tower.
know the tower.
There is a third party that Verizon sometimes hires to be the facilitator of the tower. Everything else is the same, we'll be able to use it to put any kind of communication antennas or anything else on. They are working through the process with Carmen and them for some local permitting. But they're still looking at September, start date to put it up. I actually went back and tried to see if it ever gave a height of the tower, but I never could find anything that.
I don't know if that's on it, this one, what I
what
just
this
gave
is.
you, I think it's asking what address. So I don't know, would the address be on the permit that you had before?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
While we're talking about that, we need to come up with board appointments for the Scottsburg area plan. It has to be a Democrat that lives within a mile of city limits. I don't know if anybody's had an opportunity to, or I don't know too many Democrats, so ha. But anyway, we need to fill that position on their board. And Marty, since you're privy to this, was Steve Harold a appointment? He was an appointment from the commissioners, but was he a political appointment or was he just a layman?
He was just a layman.
Okay, so we need a person for the Scott County area plan. And we did appoint somebody to the Scott County BZA, did we not?
We did.
Yeah, Doug Roberts.
And as far as I know, he has not come to a meeting yet.
I don't know if has he ever been notified?
I got a hold of him and he did act like he'd be there, but I haven't talked to him lately, so I don't know. Or I think I had him call Michelle.
I'm sure
But-
he did.
I was gonna say, I did actually make contact with him at one point, but I didn't know anything didn't happen after that.
Zach, I'm gonna send this to you.
Yeah, I don't think I received anything.
I thought I did, but. But it's the same thing we did before. Let me open this up and see if I can find the address. says, located at 1296 North Gardner. Being a parcel described as 60 by 60, has the parcel shown on the tax map of Scott County as parcel 72-05-18 So is that what?
Can you send that to me?
Yes, I'll forward it to you.
And I'll send it to Stacy and then look, cause I don't know why, I thought she said the address would say Rainy Drive instead of North Gardner, cause it's kind of lane.
What's that?
Apparently, Rainy Lane, Rainy Drive, something.
It was given the intersection, so it was saying.
Rainy is actually the road that goes between, the Baumgarts and.
That's what that.
And it stops at the end of the health department and then continues at those apartments
Okay.
actually that face the north, there off of Pine Street are.
But I think if you're gonna say Rainy, that property description's off of Gardner, not off of that Rainy, cause that's just,
As long as we
I
got the
think if
parcel.
you
then-
look at that,
yeah, hang on, it's,
okay,
Looking at it from a 911 standpoint, it would either be the Pine Street address
okay.
or the Highway 31 address, either one. Based off of just a 911 standpoint, that's not a,
Which is Gardner.
yeah, Gardner. Because technically Rainy Drive doesn't exist where it's at.
Okay,
The road doesn't, it might show it on the map, but.
well, that
it
was
does
the
not.
thing, because I thought the tower was gonna be back off behind the health department, and that's what I thought
It
Stacy
is.
was showing me. So, that's why she thought it went back that lane there.
That lane doesn't exist, it stops at the pavement of the health department. It
Oh, at
shows
the
it on
front
map
there at 31?
Yes,
Okay,
it shows it on
okay,
the
so-
map there,
did you
but
get
it
that?
doesn't exist there.
I sent that to you, I don't know if you got it.
On the phone?
No, well, it should be to your email address.
Okay, hang on just a minute. Yeah, I just did.
Because you could say it has a continuated drive from the health department to say a 31 address.
All right, the other thing I have here is that we need to discuss when it comes back up for budgeting, I guess, cycle. Now, I know Randy's brought this up a year or so ago and, it didn't get addressed with the council, to give, our highway superintendent additional money to be able to do work and, at county properties and also, supervise, the maintenance guy here at the courthouse. So we just need to make sure that Deandra and Jennifer knows that when we're talking about budgeting and stuff, that we did have two people in that position and we did away with one of them, so there's still money should be in that budget line. But we need to give that money to someone else to be able to oversee
All
some.
county facilities.
Yeah, and that person would, we're talking about Kevin here. Kevin has a construction background, so, he can do a lot of construction work without us having to do it outside, so. So we just need to make sure whatever we have to do, and I want to actually, Zach, I need to ask Zach a question. But it's about a tree, and Kevin left, cause I know they're still paving.
It's done.
Huh?
It's done. They got it done.
Good. All right. Greg, you got anything else?
Yes. So, still wanna remind everybody on what days at our trash, drop-off locations, what the designated days are for drop-off, what the hours are. I know, the folks at Finley Firehouse, got a hold of me the other day where we had an individual drop, several bags of trash off, outside of those hours. And the problem with it is when you come and do that, number one, we have some rules out there for a reason, and they're on, big sign displays to see. So literally, when you're walking up to set your bags down, you're negating what we've invested for you to read. And, So that's a little bit aggravating. And animals can get in that trash and just make one heck of a mess out there.
They can also be fined.
And then the other side of that is, IDEM, coming to fine us and, looking at that as well. So what folks need to understand is we also have cameras in place. Now, this particular instance, about a week ago or so, I pulled the footage back up and I've seen the individual doing it. So, you know, we kind of want to throw the warning out there, because, you know, before we, you know, post pictures of people doing it, and I don't want to go down it, but if that's what stops, individuals from going out there, after business hours, and putting trash in, that's what we'll do. But, again, I just want everybody to understand that we gotta continue to follow the rules with these programs, because potentially if we don't, they could go away. So always, you know, just a reminder out there to the public, please drop trash off on your designated days and hours of operation.
And don't put it on the ground.
Maybe we should just, now that we got the cameras, maybe we just need to follow up with fines.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's what I'm saying. That's why I'm wanting to throw this reminder out, because, you know, phase 2 of this could not be good.
Yeah, well, I mean,
Well, I posted some people
We've
last
asked
time,
and asked.
out of Stacy's, and then I got some feedback from some of those people that, why'd you post me? Well, you were doing something that's not the way it's supposed to be done, so.
Yeah, and keep in mind, these cameras are pretty good. I mean, you know, look at this individual pretty closely from the camera footage.
I can pull the driver's license, or the license plate up, so cameras are pretty good. But, is that what you got?
That's all I got.
You?
I'm done.
I got a question. I have a tree that is sitting close to me, you to the road. It's got a big hole in the side of it. The tree is about yay big around and probably 100 or so foot tall. It's gonna fall because it's already dropped. It's broke a piece off and dropped, and it's kind of leaning on the other part that's still got fresh. It's gonna fall, and it's
What
gonna.
property is it on?
Well, it's in an estate type of thing. It's Bruce Hardy's property, which, he's got an estate, he's got a caretaker that all the tax stuff goes to, and I try to actually send stuff to him before, come find out, I think the address is 12124 Polk Road, but it's Polk Road in Jefferson County, not Polk Road in Scott County. But I don't know, I mean, it's one of those situations like we're dealing with property.
You're talking about danger too, like.
It's gonna fall on somebody, and, I mean, and it's got a limb about that big around that's dead and hanging over the road, that's getting ready to go, but this is a size of a tree that our highway department cannot cut down. It is going to have to be a commercial, tree cutter, cause I mean, it is that dangerous and that big. And when it goes down, it's gonna take a bunch of stuff with it.
So we would have to contract with an outside party to.
And it's already leaning. And like I said, I could actually probably get inside of it. It's that big and that rotted out in the center. But it's just a matter of time. There's school buses that go by there.
I
There's,
mean, normally the county can do work.
and just bill it.
Certainly in the right of ways. This probably seems like maybe it's just outside of.
I can touch it. If I can stay in the road, I can lean over and touch it. It's probably in our right of way.
Then, I mean, if we have the ability to protect, you know,
I just don't-
those, if we're saying
Safety issue.
it's a safety issue.
It's
that
tough.
Normally, if you were to move on to somebody's property with county highway equipment, labor and perform some
I
form
get
of
that.
remediation or whatever, I think you have to have their permission and you have to bill them.
Yeah.
that,
Well, I'm thinking about billing. But there's nobody out there that, I mean, I know, I know who Bruce Hardy is, but he's been dead for a long time. But I think, Joy Tobias was the overseer of that property forever. But I think they moved to Florida, but they still have that address because of the tax purposes to the Pope Road address. And plus I know Bob's brother passed away, so that's Steve's wife, so I don't know. I just know that it's, every day I drive past it, it's going to fall, and like I said, 4 times a day, there's a school bus that
so I
goes
think
there.
that, if you wanna talk to Kevin about
Contracting.
with somebody to perform services
Yeah.
under the highway department.
See where it's kind of broke right there and it's kind of dropped down.
Kevin and I talked about too, maybe next
Waiting for a
year,
good
trying
wind.
to get some type of
Waiting for a good wind.
Well,
contract put together for
it's pretty good
these particular
size.
things,
Yeah.
for
Just like you
Tree
know, it's
cutting.
happening.
Still a lot of way to
for
go.
things that our guys
Oh,
can't do,
Yeah, we
when
could,
it-
Especially when it starts
we
getting
could probably
bright
put
like that.
something
Well,
like
when
that in like.
when it broke here
yeah.
and then
packets,
dropped down on it
we could
again,
Go ahead and have something out there
that's
that's like.
just, I mean, it's
This
a
is
matter
what
of
our
time.
equipment
Yeah.
costs for this amount of time, and this is what our labor costs are. We accept the bid, in January for those services as needed, and then Kevin has the authority to go out there and say, cut that tree down.
I'll get with Kevin. You have anything?
I don't have anything at this time, no.
I know you came in late, you got anything?
I came in to know how long it takes for an application for, 911 dispatch. I wanted to know the processes of that.
Well, I come up here probably twice a week to gather mail and applications that are turned in. And then we take a look at your application, we decide if we want to do a second interview. We decide if we want to do a second interview, and then after second, we decide if we want to hire you.
So that's you.
That's him.
You do it. Can
So
I?
just get with him.
I can give you my business card here in a moment.
Okay, that would be great.
All right.
Thank you.
Jennifer, you have anything?
I think I'm done.
Are you awake over there? You got anything? I'll entertain a motion
I
to
do.
close the meeting. Hurry up.
Oh, okay. As an interested party, please don't forget that you 3 commissioners have the responsibility to, attempt a new comprehensive.
Oh, yeah.
Because we did have an inquiry, Jennifer sent me an inquiry just today, asking if that 2011 revised, ordinance was the latest one in, being used, and I said, yeah, it is. But it's so outdated, and, in comparing with, the new one that the city of Scottsburg and even the city of Austin has passed and have now in effect, there's a lot that is not covered that develops down in that department, and there's just questions all the time. I don't care whether it's a tiny house, an Airbnb, I could think of several examples, but nonetheless, and I know this is a project that's probably gonna cost
It's 105,000.
100,000.
105,000.
Yeah, I would agree with that, because it covers everything. It not only does the comprehensive plan for you so that you have a general plan of where everything is heading in this county, but also it redoes all of the zoning maps, and it redoes the zoning ordinance completely.
Yeah, we tried to get
I know.
a grant through River Hills to help do that, but we couldn't even get the people with salary, survey to even
Right.
complete it, to even get the grant, so.
Right,
Yeah.
so,
Yeah, the last I heard it was 75 to 115, I think, or something. But,
A
yeah,
report that size, it'll be up at that.
yeah. And it's like you said, it's utilized for a lot of things.
It is, and I'm really surprised it's at the state level that people haven't up there started saying, where's your new comprehensive plan?
They probably have, we just don't pay attention to them.
You know, so that's
All right.
the issue.
Okay,
I'll entertain a motion to close the meeting.
I'll make that motion.
Randy makes a motion, Greg?
I'll second.
Greg seconds that, I'll make that unanimous.